Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. What's up, guys? This is
Oh,
Answer the Call, the Star Citizen podcast with myself, SaltEMike, and my co-host Croncy, where we talk about what's going on in Star Citizen, but it is
mhm.
also a call-in show. So we don't just talk about it amongst ourselves. We basically open up the line to you guys. So there's I think 3 callers already on the line,
Mhm.
and they know what we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, we do want to thank you guys for the members this week. There's been, I think, 5
Yeah.
or so new YouTube members, so thank you for that. If you guys want to support the channel and go way above and beyond than just watching it, which lots of you guys did that last week as well.
Yeah.
And subscribed as well.
Mhm.
Lots of you guys have been doing that, so we just want to thank you for the support before we get started here. But it was a really big week for Star Citizen, I think. But we
Yep.
had 323, we had an ISC, we had some things going on with Atmo Esports and other racing
Mhm.
groups, and Overdrive Phase 3. And I think that covers most of the things that have happened this week, if I don't recall all of them. I think that's it.
Yeah. Like it's a holiday weekend, so no SCL or anything like that.
But
Also, we
you know,
just
well,
had the roadmap, so it's one of those weeks that. Well, I mean, this week last year would have been like an insane week, but we've had just such a crazy start to the year. It felt a little less powerful. But then obviously yourself, Mike, and a bunch of other Evo Kashi people who can now talk about it in the chat or in the calls, if you want to call in and talk about it, uh, obviously got to experience some awesome stuff this week.
yeah,
And I want
and
to
they did it
preempt.
on the holiday. That was the crazy
Yeah,
part,
yeah,
because they put it
exactly.
out on a holiday, which was like, what?
Yeah.
Unexpected.
I want to preempt the YouTube comments. I didn't get to do Evo Cardi. Mike's going to talk a lot, and I'm going to make him talk a lot today because he's going to be informing me about all the stuff that he got to do.
Yeah, Croncy's going to ask questions. I'm going to answer
Yeah.
some questions.
Yeah.
Is basically how it's going to go, and then people are going to call in and talk about things relate, like, can Star Citizen 3.23 live up to the hype? That's
Yep.
a conversation that we can have, but it's also
Hmm.
the other things that went on this week, for people to call in
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We don't have to just touch on 323 because obviously it's not in everyone's hands,
Yep.
and things like that. So you want to put that on hold for now and jump into some other
Hmm.
things, or do you want to jump right into 323? Kind of throw the ball
Yeah,
to you
let's
on
hold it
that.
for a sec because I just want to talk about, like, obviously, Mike has been getting a bit more into racing as of late,
A
over the last
lot.
couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
just one
literally getting some
specific.
laps in just
Yeah.
before we started ATC. But yeah, the we had 3 like major racing essentially championships this weekend, and I don't know, it's just something that I just want to talk about a little bit because the racing community has gotten so much bigger over the course of the last maybe 6 months, and the events have gotten so much more professional as well, which is a super awesome thing to see in this pre-alpha game.
Do you think
So
it's because of the support of things like that with Arena Commander and other things, or the
yeah.
general, like, putting the PU in the racetracks, or I'm assuming it's kind of a combination of the groups that are putting together
Mhm.
professional, like, programming. But what
Yeah.
I'm just
The-
curious, like, what you mean by professional in this sense.
yeah. So first off, just want to answer that first bit. It's definitely a cause of CIG putting in support for the racing community over the course of the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since they originally put in Snake Pit as like a place that you could go to, and then they've continued to support community tracks, and we've now got Arena Commander Gravlev Racing that came out. So all of that stuff has been helping all of that through. In addition, though, all of the organizers just put so much work into it. The like actual production value of a lot of these,
Very high.
especially, yeah, exactly, for streams that are getting like 200 viewers, which is like great in general, but for the amount of effort they're putting in, that's insane, and it's why it's building up so much. I think
Mm.
is because just like, holy crap, these guys are really putting the work in. So that's been fantastic. It's going to be weird once we get master modes in, especially for stuff like the Crux Cup, where everything's going to change, and the XGR guys. But yeah, it's just been a super cool community weekend.
Hell yeah. I
Yeah,
think like I don't know. Racing is still a very and will always be a niche thing. Even Formula One, as
for
popular
sure.
as it is super
Yep.
niche. But it is really awesome to see some of these things, and they're really the first groups to come together and do this kind of stuff with or without CIG support. And now you're
Yep.
starting to see a lot more stuff from Atmo and from other teams or groups doing PvP things. And I
hmm
think we'll eventually start
That
to
was the thing.
see.
There was a pirate PvP event this weekend as well. Like it was
Yeah,
just a full big weekend event of just everything.
yeah, like whoever it was, I'm sorry I had to remove the post in like my video react request channel because it's just not what it's there
Right.
for. Somebody was using
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
to promote that event, and like that's
Sure.
okay, but I was super intrigued and I haven't caught anything about it yet, but that is awesome. Do you
Yeah.
know any details about it? Because I am one of my things that I was going to do and relax after the podcast today was to watch what happened with that, but I don't know what the deal
un-
is.
unf- Unfortunately, all I saw was like a single post on Twitter,
Okay,
and I think Shadow Moses won or something. I don't
of
know.
course they did.
I completely missed it for the
How
most
about
part. But
this? If anybody
yeah,
knows any details on it, call in. I'm curious.
Shadow
I
Moses didn't win. All right. Well, someone won. One of the big Liberty
Liberty
Reapers. Yeah,
Reapers.
I knew it
Okay,
was one of the big orgs. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, come in and let us know what's going on. I'm curious.
Yeah. What was the
Yeah.
deal? Awesome.
But that's cool. And then I don't
Yeah.
know. The thing that I would probably want to quickly go through next is
hmm
ISC. What did you think? It was one of those like off weeks for ISC for me. It's not that anything was bad
Mm,
about it. It was
sure.
perfectly
Sure.
fine
Sure. Sure.
ISC. It was just it's the visor, it's UI, it's things that
Yeah.
you're going to be way more interested in playing with than visualizing on an ISC or hearing a dev talk about it, right?
Yeah, of
Um
course. It's
I'll
it's a
bring it
feature
up
that I
though.
think needs an ISC
Of course.
regardless.
Of
So
course.
I'm glad that they put it in. But like I get what you're saying. It was very compared to a lot of the ISCs we've had recently. I guess it wasn't as informative or it wasn't as impactful.
Mhm.
What it did tell us until the Eva Cardi patch came out, which we'll talk about, what it did tell us is that CIG still have this really weird design language with fonts and
And
screens.
hollow and
Yeah.
yeah, it's everything
It
is blue
looks,
hollow.
it still looks way crisper than live
Yeah.
for sure by a wide margin. You can see there on the camera. Um, but in certain lightings, in certain positions, especially when you look at the loot screen, because the loot screen itself sort of like moves based on how you're moving. It can start to look really blurry and be really hard to read. And I just wish CIG would not get rid of drop shadow, but get rid of drop shadow that's the same color as the thing that's in front of it. Because I actually noticed in the ISC, there's this one image of someone trying to buy something right now in game, like the old buy screen, right? Not the shop screen, just the go up buy. On the left side, they have words there. It has a dark drop shadow, and it looks fine. Yeah, I think it's right around
It's
there,
in
just
this
before
area.
all that.
Before this, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And it looks good. You can see it, and like, it doesn't break your brain. And then they go into the new mode, and it's like, all right, cool. This looks crisp. It looks nice. But because you've just got blue on blue,
Here it
you know what
is.
I mean. So it'll be just before. It'll be just before this
Just
buy screen
before
here,
this.
like literally just before this.
There it is. This, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Wanna
On the
make sure I'm
left
not
side
missing it.
there, you can sort of see because you're not sharing to me, Mike. So
Yes,
I'm
yes,
trying.
yes,
I've
yes,
got a
yes,
delay,
yes.
but yeah, on the
Right
left
here.
side, you can sort of see where it's actually like that's easy to read. Awesome, right? And it's just because it's got a like actual like dark drop shadow opposed to light blue on light blue. So
Why are we doing this?
yeah, yeah.
Why are
I
we
don't know.
doing
I
this?
don't know.
Unless it's like all this stuff is in Evo. Jared's explained that
Yeah, it could all change for sure.
it's not even that it could all change. They could literally just not have been able to show you the most updated versions. Like I'll
Yeah,
tell you, the Moby Glass that they show in this is not the Moby Glass that we have in Evo. The Moby Glass we have in
yeah,
Evo is further along than what they showed us.
yeah.
So I mean, there's there's some cool stuff here. I think the absolute most notable best shit out of the entire episode was this. Um,
Yep.
Not how it looks, but how it functioned. First off,
Yes.
this thing top left, new hacking chip, or top right, I should say.
Is it?
New hacking chip. This
Okay.
is P4AR magazine. It's a hacking chip. We don't know anything about it.
Sure.
I haven't seen it in Evo, but they mouse over it during the show at some point. It's a hacking chip.
Okay.
The thing that I want to get to that I think is very cool is this. So they're mousing over the P4.
Yep.
And when they mouse over the P4, it puts a little white circle next to every single thing in the container that you're looking at.
Yep.
To let you know that that attachment can be applied to the weapon that you have. So it's just a simple little thing that makes life a little bit easier, so you don't have to know, like, because there's 50,000 different ammos and all these, like,
Yep, and half of them look the same, but are like smaller or larger.
But
And so it's just a massive quality of life change.
the smaller one sometimes is larger than the big one, and it's like the size 3, and you're just like, what is this? That I think that this is like a size 1. This is a size 1 suppressor, and the size 3 looks bigger. Or size 3 looks smaller, I mean. It's like, it makes no sense. So, yeah, this lets you know that I can attach these things to my weapon, which is nice.
Yeah.
So I thought this was really cool. And then the only other, like, stupid thing to note, I saw it in chat. I'll see if I can find it here. There's the hacking chip again. Everyone looked at this on ISA and was like, what the heck is this? And they mouse over it, and it says something light. At some point, it's literally, guys, it's literally a blue light. I found it at a distribution center. It's metro.
When you say blue light,
it is a light. Like, it is a light that you put
like
on the ground.
Attachment?
No, you just put it on the ground. It's like RP stuff.
Oh.
You turn it on and it lights up. It's a beacon.
Oh, it's yeah. It's
yeah.
I know what you mean.
And people are like coping like this is how you're gonna make a medical beacon in the future, and I'm like, I don't think so, guys, but okay. So yeah, that's all that was. So if you were curious what this was, it is in Evo. I looted it at a distribution center, and it's literally just a light. It's blue, and it doesn't do anything for now, at least. So
yeah.
I mean, that's really like all I got from the episode. I think we've seen a lot of the UI things. They reiterated a lot of things we already knew. Yeah, I think the thing that I still absolutely can't stand is this still happens all the time. Like,
the messages?
Nothing's changed. From the most annoying aspect of the game was the thing pops up at the top no matter what.
I do wonder if that's a. Do you think that's a Moby-Glass connected thing, or do you think that's in relation to the visor?
It's
visor.
visor.
Where do you think it connects? Okay.
Visor, because the Moby-Glass, like, any message that comes up here, the Moby-Glass stores it now, which is kind of cool.
Sure.
So you can look back and be like, oh, what just happened? Oh, okay. And it'll like go in like a journal entry kind of thing. But I think one of the things that I was hoping with this new UI was they wouldn't have this notification that pops up all the time. And then during the show, they said that there would be priority ones and non-priority ones. Like, how is leaving Armistice? Well, I guess that is a priority one. Yeah.
It is, but there's other ones. Like, commodity price alerts should not be a priority one, right? Like, if that one's popping up, that's a bit unnecessary.
It does pop up.
I'm trying to think of what are some other ones. No, comlink disabled is kind of an important one. Really, it's just the commodity price alerts, actually, I think. Yeah. Because that just pops up all the time.
I'm trying to find here. Okay, so here's the example of what they talked about with like non-priority things that they would be over here. I just committed a crime and it went over here. Right?
I think
everything should just be here. Why is it up big, and in the way? That was my only thing. I was like kind of hoping that it would go away. And in Evo, it's still up top. So maybe we're not there yet. Is my
maybe
That is the saving grace. So long as everything is in Evo, it still could be decent, right?
I
But I
mean,
will
even
say
in
for now,
regular
it's
PTU, like there's always still that
there's
room
changes.
for those things. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So
Um, I will say I don't think that is too bad of having the majors up top and the minors on the side. Like I don't think you need everything to be on the side because
and you definitely
there
don't
is
need
there
everything
is
on top.
exactly I think a split is good as long, but it'll be a thing that I'll have to experience for a while. Like,
Mm.
do imagine though that you were like, let's say you go into SPK to commit some crimes. It is much better for the like 50 homicides and aggravated assaults to rock up on the right
Ah,
side over the top, right? So,
I
oh, I
did it
did it
again,
again.
guys.
I did it again.
It's every other week now, so we're getting better. We're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
better. You know why it's every other week? Because the week I
Why?
have the intro, I forget to turn it off.
Uh, that
When
makes
you're doing
sense.
the intro, I'm like, boop.
Someone last week did say I'd do the better intro. So just
I
saying.
did see that. So maybe you should just do the intros from now on. I'm
Um,
fine with it.
but yeah, how did the visor and the lens translate to Evo Cardi when you played it this week?
Okay, so that's one of the harder ones to answer, just
Okay.
because like crashes and issues and instability caused
Mhm.
the ability to like grab a bunch of helmets, have okay, sometimes I'm going to have a combat visor and sometimes I'm not, like things like that. So
Yep.
I just took whatever I could because there were more important things
Sure.
in my mind, at least. Like I wanted to find the
Mhm.
animals and other shit that I thought was cool. Minimap was probably the most noticeable thing. The fact that
Okay.
it was there sometimes, but not there most of the time, because like they told us.
Give us an example. What is an example of not like where it wasn't there that you would have expected it to be there?
Okay, but yeah, I have a really good example of that. You wake up
Mhm.
at New Babbage and it's there,
Yep.
right? So at the hotel that you're in, and then you
Mhm.
get on the train and it turns off. So it is
Hmm.
like very and we have an example of what it looks like when it's turned off right here. Radar unavailable.
Yeah.
Anytime there is no map, that's what it will say. Okay.
Okay.
And the so that is most of the experience because they're not at like bunkers. I think Wanted Tigers in chat and maybe some other people that I was playing with. And yeah, Derval, were they at the distribution centers? Because my distribution center experience got scammed a little bit by some bugs, and theirs didn't. I don't remember if
S-
the maps were at distro centers or not. But
Speaking of distro centers, not to completely change what we
sure,
were just talking about,
sure.
to get a
None.
bit of an experience of Evo Cardi, I did watch your two videos this week
Mm-hmm.
about your experience. Refineries at the distro centers?
Apparently, so this is another question that I can lean on, like some of the other guys, because
Okay.
I ended up getting trapped inside of a distribution center before ever actually making it inside, and then the other time um, there's a bug right now in Evo where you randomly just get um, full blood drug level and you can't do
Fun.
anything. Yeah, it just randomly happens.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, you just get overdosed and it's just you're screwed. So the
yeah,
only solution there is a backspace, and
sure.
that becomes a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yep.
Uh, but did anybody make it to the refinery at that Microtech distribution center from our group? I'm not sure. So the only way that I know is, you know how the distribution centers, they're like tall, but then they also
Yeah,
had
yep.
the exterior area where ships would
Hmm.
land and vehicles. So we landed in that area, and we landed kind of in the center. And one
Yep.
way was cargo, and the other way there was a sign that said refinery this way. And
Yeah.
as I was going that way, bang, I got hit with the blood drug level, so I never made it
Yep.
back.
Yep.
Meyer says there's refineries there. There's also some weird looking server assets at the refinery that look like it could be for a mission.
Ooh.
Do-do-do-do.
Ooh.
So yeah, very cool.
Interesting.
So
Sweet.
I guess I didn't think that there was more reasons to go back to Evo after Friday because I played all night and barely slept.
Yeah, yep.
I think there's probably now Meyer's giving me a reason to want to go back and see more about the distribution center. So I might hop on there today and see if I can
Yeah, yeah.
find some more stuff. But yeah, there was a sign that said refinery. So refineries may not only be at those stations anymore. There might be new ones for new things or
Yep.
something, right? So that's very cool.
And I would imagine with the economy team has explicitly said that they are messing around with the entire economy in regards to
everything.
the release of distro centers. So it's very possible that all of that changes with regards to those. Because I would love distribution centers to have, like the fact that you have to come into Atmo and go to those locations versus just drop them off at a station should come at some sort of bonus. So hopefully that happens. Because yeah, that'd be awesome.
We'll see. I will say distribution centers, regardless of the type of content that they're going to put there, because there is definitely a possibility that the type of content they're going to put there is not going to be very interesting, just because the type of content that we have now is not very interesting and doesn't have a lot to do. Right, like our bunker missions or whatever, right? So, but they still have the ability to be the highlight of the game. I will pause it here. The guy, because I was watching them, they were sharing their screen while I was dealing with other. I think I was looking for the birds or something like that. We were kind of sharing screens and showing each other because it's the patch is so big that you can't find everything and test everything. So everybody in our group was trying different things. Two guys got into the distribution center, and it is massive on the inside. They were looking around forever. They found the raid area. The boxes look different. The area looks different. The boxes are like coming up from underground and stuff, so they've done more work on it since we've seen it.
Awesome.
They still were 1 SCU boxes, so there's that.
Sure.
But yeah, it was really cool. They found a random room with Osoian hides in them. Like a lot of Osoian hides. So like
I like that idea, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There was like some unlawful things going on at this distribution center by some like, because this was a lawful one, I believe. So like employees were doing some things that they shouldn't have been doing, things like that. So there's some cool stuff going on here, I think, when it comes to these for sure. I think I went to this one specifically. Maybe not. I can't remember which one I went to, but it was on Hurston, and I landed on the top for that, and that's where I got kind of stuck. It was basically this landing pad was where I went. These were all broken. You couldn't go into the hangars, and I guess this clearly looks like a refinery, by the way, right? It's also clearly on Microtech. This is the one that we were at. So
it also looks like it has deliberate level design too, in like choke points, like high points to shooting, that sort of stuff. So
yep. And just to roll back just a tiny bit, that's the sign I saw. So like you could see these are landing pads, and the refinery was over here, and this is the sign that tells you like where to go. You could see there's like an Ursa rover over here. There were some loot containers over here as well. That's where I found that stupid light. And right here is where I blacked out from overdosing. So yeah, it is. There's a lot going on. There's so much area to cover. Regardless what they do here, they are going to be interesting just for you to explore for a good amount of time before it gets boring and you're ready to move on to the next thing and the next patch for Star Citizen.
Yeah. So. I would imagine, because it was Evocardi, I imagine AI was utter garbage, but like how populated was the area with NPCs?
Low, but there were NPCs there, and obviously they didn't do much, but they were there, and they were all like lawful working types. There were, we did see like container icons. Don't know if they were from other players or from like actually the game. Once we got out of our ships, we couldn't find them. So I'm not sure what was going on there with that, but these are not ready for feedback, just to be clear. So what we saw is still has a ways to go, and still has like more stuff to be added. Wanted said he saw them inside the hangar elevators in front of the screen. Yeah, okay, so they were in here. These are like hangar-looking elevators, right? These are exactly what the freight elevators look like from what we saw. So this is probably freight elevators next to the landing pads as well, right? So
Awesome.
That's kind of cool, right? So distro
Yeah.
centers, very exciting. The highlight of the current Evo patches, I would say, for now, outside of the star map,
Yeah, it's
for
just
I guess
it's new
features.
locations. We've been starved for new locations for quite a while.
Exactly.
We've essentially only had like the Rex, and that's it. The Rex have been cool, but like nothing's been to this scale for a while.
Yeah. Like I guess this is the same asset, but these little doors at the bottom were open, that I saw. So like
Sure.
stuff
So they
comes
sort of get
up.
fed up through there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a little bit of like a conveyor of some kind. So very cool stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. Star map was significantly better. That was probably the
Yep.
thing that I noticed the most
Hmm.
was it was just very functional, easy to use, and simple. And I didn't have any like crazy quantum travel issues like we've had in the past.
Yep.
Who knows if that'll maintain? But between the first Evo patch to this one that's current, the star map was very usable. Basically, it was like you would just type in distribution center, or like just start typing in distribution center, and it would list
Yep.
off all the names. You would click that name and press R, and
Sweet.
you're going there. It was
So it
just
even so
simple.
the search function even has like categorizations and stuff as well. Like you can search, I
No,
imagine something like refinery or no.
only if the name is like refinery. So you kind of do have to know at least part of the
Right. Okay.
name, right? So you can't go like a drug lab and then it say Jumptown.
Like Jumptown, Paradise Cove, whatever.
No, you
Okay.
would have to know that it's called Paradise Cove and start typing and then it would be like Paradise Cove as an option. Um,
Okay.
so for example, I typed OM, and the search is smart enough to know that it just took any option with the letters
Hmm.
O and M next to each other. So it gave
Yep.
the first option it gave me was a com array. Right. So the
No.
search function is actually pretty
Sure.
powerful. I was just
Yeah.
curious
Yeah.
if I can QT to an OM with the
Yeah.
new star map or something like that. Like if there was any new added functionality to quantum traveling via the star map or not. That wasn't there, but it was you can't QT to your party members via
Yeah.
the search function, things like that as well. Um,
Okay.
but it's
Was it always system wide as well, or like would it prioritize
the
like if you
thing.
were in Hearson and you
The
searched up like I don't know
oh,
her something?
I
Did it
not that
prioritize local or was it just everything?
it's everything. Not, as far as
Okay.
I recall, it was everything. But that is a good question that I can investigate and get back to you because I'm curious if when I typed in Comrade, did it give me the closest one? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a good chance that it would give you the results closer. As somebody in chat, Tumblerino just said it filters closer results, which is
Cool.
it just
Yeah.
that is something that was not at CitizenCon, and it was
Hmm.
something that was added later, and it is the best feature of everything that
Yeah.
we saw at CitizenCon as well. So I'm
That's it.
just very pleased with what we saw.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Cool.
I just realized I'm not sharing screens with you, and you mentioned that
Yeah,
a
I said that
long time
before.
ago, and it never registered until now. So take
Um,
over. I'll get the screen over for you. Okay.
so obviously we're only like this is essentially the second Evo Cardi like 323 patch.
Yeah.
As in like content patch.
Sure.
Stability. Are we close to a wave one at all
No.
or no shot? Okay.
Zero shot. Not just because stability wasn't good, but because we're not even remotely have any of the features in. Like
But they've been doing that a lot recently with
yeah, but this is
PTU patches.
like insanely missing everything.
Okay.
Right? Like we are still missing a very large amount of the things that we need to not be missing. So
Sure.
like again, distribution centers not ready for feedback.
Yeah.
Cargo missions not ready for feedback. The hangars are not in at all. Freight elevators are not in at
Yeah,
all.
not in. Yeah.
Like there's just everything was missing. The main testing focus of this patch was stability first, and
Yeah, yep.
second FPS.
Yep.
Those are really the only things that are ready for feedback. And the
When you say
star map,
FPS as well, is that including like new UI? Is that focus testing?
the new UI, the backpack reloading,
Yeah.
that stuff, but more importantly, the all of the changes to damage and bullet drop
Hmm.
and procedural recoil and all those things are in. All of the
Yeah.
changes are in. The scopes, everything is there, but it's very hard to provide that feedback in the PU, and they didn't turn Arena Commander on, so you could only go in
Yeah.
offline Arena Commander, which was kind of a bummer. But
I
yeah,
did hear you say though that apparently you were able to get into the
hell
offline
yeah.
Arena Commander engineering mode, and while you weren't able to do it, there's like signs of life, essentially.
Oh, I mean, more than life.
Okay.
I'll bring up what I can as far as footage for this, but
Yep.
it is exciting.
Yep.
Like the engineering panel was in. I was opening doors. So
Okay.
again, Arena Commander is only in offline mode. There,
Yeah. Yep.
I also want to make a little announcement while we're towards the beginning of the show. Towards the end of today's show, I actually do not have a timeline today, which is finally, right? No
Hmm.
hockey game, no family stuff going on, nothing. But we're it's 10:30 a.m. right now. Right
Hmm.
around noon, something in Arena Commander's dropping, but we don't know what.
Oh, just a secret little. Hey,
Yeah,
something's
DJ
happening.
popped in and was like, something's happening in so towards the end of today's show, we're gonna find out what it is. But I don't know what it is.
Well, come on, DJ. Make sure my Evocardi application gets through quick. Come on, what's going on?
Noon Eastern in about an hour and a half. So
Okay.
regardless, the this was in.
Yeah.
This was
All right.
in. I opened doors and stuff. It was crazy. I
Mhm.
did not mess around with it very much because
Sure.
it was only offline. It seems like there's going to be a couple of game modes. You can only select the Gladius and the A2. So I don't know if
Okay.
there's like a teams, like you can only select the Gladius on one team and the A2 on another. No idea how the game mode works. There is a free flight version in offline. That's the only one
Oh.
that I was able to get into. So I just ran around the ship. There's a bunch
Hmm.
of like relays that you can go to and stuff like that. So it's awesome. It's just
Cool.
awesome to see what you saw at CitizenCon in the game and interact with it. What does
Yeah.
it mean for now? I don't know, but similar to 322, I feel like I'm going to be playing a lot of 323
Yeah.
in Arena Commander, not
Yeah.
in the PU. As cool as the stuff in the PU is, this might be where I'm spending a lot of my time.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of it. Just because I'm excited for this particular gameplay. I think it'll be cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
All right. I've got more questions for you.
please.
I got one of my viewers to do homework for me.
Thank you.
Uh, uh, did you do the physical shopping UI, all that stuff?
Yeah, it's
How's it feel?
I don't get it
Nah.
personally. Yeah, I'll bring up some video for it from ISC, but
Hmm.
the I'll kind of, I think this is perfectly fine. We can just leave a still here actually, and it'll be good.
Like,
This is
yeah, I would
all
imagine the UI at the very least looks better, but does it feel any more intuitive or anything like that?
one thing about it feels intuitive, and it's what they're showing on the screen now. And I'll do my best
Hmm.
to like because it's very quick and the UI doesn't show it very well, but it's
Yep.
gonna fill up going in this direction a little bit.
Hmm.
It's hold B to buy. So that is
Yeah.
very intuitive. I want these pants. I hold B, love it. Good.
Yeah.
What I can't do is what if I want to buy 10 of these pants, or obviously not the pants, but let's go with ammo or med
Yeah.
pens. I don't have that functionality. So now I have to hold B 10 times. So we're like,
Or go through the terminal, I would imagine.
or use the
Yeah.
terminal. Exactly. And it's, I feel like if you're going to put the time and effort into this, and again, it might be a for now thing, but it
Mhm.
feels like it's the same functionality with a little bit of additional and
Mhm.
a little bit cooler looking UI. I don't think it was like a big addition. And the other thing is very buggy. It ends up behind
Sure.
things and
Yeah.
yeah, it just looks kind of goofy for now. But I do love the hold B for buying stuff. I think that was neat. You can also rebind this, and I'm curious if it would say a different thing there or not when you rebind it.
Yeah.
But, Yeah, you get a little sense for the mini map there as well when you're buying the shop up top, when you're buying things from
Sweet.
the shop. So the landing zones are
Yep.
in some areas, but like bunkers, no. Distribution centers, no. Lots of places, no. So most of the time it's going to be empty for now. A lot of ships have them, but
Yep.
that's really it.
One of the biggest things that I was really excited for, and you talked a little bit about in your videos this week, but only sort of touched on with the animals.
I
Well, first
didn't.
off, I'm just happy they're in there.
Yeah, I didn't want to say
Do
too
they look
much.
weird? Do they actually look weird?
I
Because they
mean,
looked a little
they look
weird
alien.
on the. Yeah, but no, they looked like low res on the
Yeah.
Twitter post that they made, or at least it didn't seem like it had the same fidelity as a lot of assets do in Starset. Um,
Hmm. Let me.
so that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, how did it look in the actual game?
Uh, it might have been low res because Twitter and
Oh, for
Instagram.
sure. No, yeah, it might have been like that. It's just it's the only thing, obviously, that like was publicly put out there.
Of course, of
So
course. So like
yeah,
this is the video that you're referencing.
yeah, yeah.
The birds, these are the exact animations that they have in game.
Sweet.
So like they're not even showing you like a fake Star Citizen video really.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
if you've ever played Valheim, that like you know the
Hmm.
birds fly and then they land and then they fly and that's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
all they do. That's what these did, at least for me. They're
Okay.
non-aggressive or anything like that. They
Yeah,
looked
yeah.
good. Yeah, they looked like a Star Citizen asset. They didn't look worse.
Okay. Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah. And then
Cool.
the dogs have two eyes and are
You mean four?
aggressive. Or yeah, four eyes, two eyes on each side,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry. And yeah, they're cool. Like this I don't think looks too low poly, right?
Not necessarily low poly, but like yeah, I guess it's the fact that they don't have like fur is like weird, but that is also a very alien thing. So it could have 100% be like a
Mm,
genuine stylistic choice. Because they have mentioned before, I don't 100% remember where, but they have apparently mentioned that all of the like human hair tech that's coming with, well, that has already come and then is coming with the character customizer, they're
will
going
be
to
on.
also be using for stuff on aliens and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it might just be that they're all smooth and that's freaking me out.
They are smooth. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you won't like it that much, but so the birds were almost impossible to find. The reason I didn't sleep,
Okay.
couldn't find them. Also, whoever you are in Evo, who when I asked where the birds were, yelled at me for saying yelled at me and said it wasn't part of the testing focus. Shut up. Okay, playing the game and stability was part of the testing focus. So if there was something I was interested in, I was testing, idiot. So that
Mike,
guy pissed me
worst
off
Evo
so
Cardi
much.
member ever.
That guy made me so mad. So anyway, I was asking where the birds were,
Yeah, yeah,
and almost nobody knew where they were because these
yeah. Mhm.
things were spawning everywhere and in mass.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
like there isn't one location where they are. There was
Like
more.
multiple planets and
So
multiple moons and stuff, or
no, just Microtech is the only place the animals were, as far as I can tell.
okay, okay,
But there were less places on Microtech that don't have these than did,
yep,
in my experience. Anywhere where there's, I guess it's not entirely true. Anywhere where
sure,
there's not snow, these were at.
hmm okay,
And there was
okay,
one little location that the birds were at. That's it. Um,
sure,
and and I think I'm not giving too much away. I don't actually want to spoil it for you guys. I want you to experience
yeah,
these
yeah,
on your own and hear the noises and things like that because you don't see them sometimes.
hmm
You hear them first. And
yeah,
I imagine if we ever end up in a situation with a good server, that's going to be a crazy, scary, fun
hmm
experience for you guys. Is you hear them first.
yeah.
Zach, who does the AI for these, is in chat. Somebody asked, "Do the dogs attack the birds?" He said yes. I
That's
doubt
pretty
we
cool.
will. I doubt we will experience that on live
There's
or in the
Yeah,
PTUs
I was gonna say
until.
there's gonna be one day of PTU where all the servers are working
Yeah,
perfectly that we're gonna get to experience that, and then we'll see.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I
I was
did want to
killed.
know.
I was killed by these dogs.
Yes, I did hear you say that, but
Yeah,
apparently you had to wait a really long
yeah.
time for
We
them to
let
like
them kill
aggro you.
us. We let them kill
Yeah.
us, but they killed us.
At least that's what Mike says every time he loses an arena commander.
True, true.
The the birds, the AI behaviors that the birds have. Did it seem like that was the Boyd system, or did these feel like they had a proper? Because they've talked a little bit about Boyd's and they've talked a little bit about like regular AI behaviors. And it sounded like Boyd's is very just like two-dimensional, extremely small behaviors of just like land, fly away, done. Do
Uh,
we know if these are on the Boyd system?
well, Zach can probably answer that for us because he's here. He
They
said
are
they
Boyds.
they
There
are
we go.
Boyds. There you
Okay,
go. But I
cool.
will say that when I did find the birds, my server was crumbling. They were teleporting.
Hmm.
So
Sure.
like again, Evocati, it is how it
Yeah, yeah.
is. Um, but the birds seemed incredibly limited. Where the dogs or the birds are the Marok and the dogs are the Copian, and which is funny because
Opiums. Yep.
it sounds like
Yep.
copium, and the dogs seem to be way more advanced and farther along,
Yeah. Yeah.
as far
Which
as
is
I can tell.
sort of what I expected them to be.
Yeah,
For anyone who doesn't know what Boyds are, they've talked about it a bunch of times over the course of like the last 2 years. It's literally just like super generic AI behavior for just like making the game feel fuller. So specifically like birds and fish, that
yeah,
sort of that sort of thing.
yeah. They were just kind
Um,
of doing
yeah.
their thing, and then I punched them in the face and killed one. One punch took a bird out. By the way.
um, you did get my hopium a little bit
Yeah,
full from one of your videos as well, when you said that apparently people were saying that like while they don't work, there are missions tied to the creatures.
3 mission types.
Yep.
2 fetch quests. One to
Hmm.
get the horns that you saw on the dog. It's the top horn. And
Yep.
another to get the pearls from the birds. And
Yep.
the horn is the coolest because it has a description.
Yep.
And the description is something like this. I'm absolutely paraphrasing. The horns are used in like to like it's a thing that is used to recreate or reproduce bone mass or something like that.
Yeah.
So we think that it might be some sort of medical crafting or crafting for some sort of a med pen of some kind,
Yeah. Yep.
something like that, that it could be in the future if they're really building this stuff out to be crafting. But at the same
Yep.
time, there are other things in the game that have descriptions that relate to crafting without there being crafting in the game. So who
Yep.
knows if it's just narrative team writing shit or if it's actually meaningful. And then
Yep.
the pearls are like these just like massive like gook and what might be like little bugs and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
They're like revenant pods also say something like a reference to
Yeah.
crafting
Yeah.
and they've never been, right?
Yeah. Yep.
There's nothing there, just as placeholder.
Sure.
So yeah,
Which unsurprising again.
of
Like
course,
we're
Evocati.
Evocati and that sort of stuff. Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, before we get to callers, because ladies and gentlemen, this is also a call show. Is there any other like major thing from Evocati this week that we
Yeah.
didn't mention
Yes.
that you want to touch on?
DLSS was pretty good.
Yep.
I turned everything up to max. I was
Mhm.
outside of Port Tressler, which is above Microtech, pointing down
Yeah.
at Microtech on the sunny side. And I turned everything to max and turned on DLSS and said maximum performance, please. And I went from 30 FPS to 45 in that situation.
Cool.
And a lot of the time I had around 56 to 59. I was on DX11 as well. You could turn on Vulkan in this build. You had to like do it
Okay.
in the
All right.
confids or whatever, I
Sure.
think. So I didn't do it. I just don't like to mess with those things. And
Yep.
I don't know what the experience was for people, but
Sure.
yeah, it.
Well, if anyone wants to call
I
in and tell
gained-
us.
Yeah, I gained a lot of performance, and the game looked absolutely incredible with reference clouds. Like I am not one of those people that like stares at this game and gets blown away anymore. I just want
Yeah,
more gameplay, and I did sit back and was like, "Well, damn." Well, damn. I feel like I'm
All right,
watching
fine.
a
I'll look.
sitcom demo. Yeah. I felt like
Yeah,
I was watching a sitcom demo for a little while. It was beautiful.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, there was that, and then the only other thing, like an interesting star map thing was when you're. I don't know what level of zoom into the map or away from the map this would be, but
Okay.
we had like 5 or 6 party members. And you know how the current map, the party member icon blocks where they are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now the party icons are all like littered on the outside, like sides of the map, and they're just in like random spots, it seems. And you just wave your
Sure.
mouse over it, and there's the name. Oh, Croncy. Click, and then I QT to Croncy. Boom,
Sweet. Cool.
done.
That's fantastic.
I don't got to go look for you.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yep.
So it was pretty useful from that standpoint.
Yep.
Like again, Star Map was absolutely the highlight of this one for me.
Mhm.
From that quality of life standpoint that everyone's looking to get from that. So I really want to hammer that home.
Yep.
Um, Water Sim was
Oh,
in.
yeah, I was gonna say, you talked about the water sim in your first video, but not the one from,
I
like,
for,
yesterday.
I forgot
Improvements or
it's in. It looks horrible for me. Like
okay.
so I put my ship near the water and the way it reacted was just unrealistic, weird, just uncanny valley garbage. But
Okay.
just like the star map from the first build, the servers were struggling and
Okay.
to do this simulation, it it just I feel like it wouldn't do it justice to just be like it's trash, the sky's falling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's no way that's the case. But if you go back to the CitizenCon demo, there's a part of the scene where they show the water at Clio, and that's how all
Mhm.
the water looks like, and it just
Yep.
doesn't quite live up to the fidelity of the rest of the game yet, I would say.
Sure.
But from a distance with the reflections, it is god tier.
Okay. Sweet.
But when you get close, they got some work to do. I feel like, but we'll
Sure.
see.
I mean, it's another one of those things, though. I feel like any water improvements are still better than what we have right now,
Yep.
of just a line that slightly rises and
Hmm.
lowers with like static sprites on the edges and stuff.
Yeah.
So
My chat is saying water sim is client side. Well,
interesting.
it couldn't handle it on a 5800 X3D and a 3090.
Yeah.
So
So
uh,
we'll see what happens, I guess,
there you go.
because yeah, once again, still an Evo Cardi. Could be a bunch of changes.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So
But it still worked, right? Like the physics engine did do its thing.
it did it.
You just said it looked weird.
It did it, but it was almost like I guess the best example I can give is when he at the demo had the circles in the water and there was like bigger ones and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
smaller ones.
And, like pushing
The
them
the
around. Yep.
size of the circle chosen didn't make sense.
Okay.
That's the best example because you already have that visual in your head.
Hmm.
The size of the circle should have been this big, but it was this big, and
Okay.
it just was like, what? Somebody called my 3090 an outdated GPU. Okay,
True.
yeah, come on.
All right, fair enough. If there's
I
nothing
think
else
that's it.
major, like obviously you said there's a lot of changes to FPS weapons. I feel like we're not going to get a good grasp on that until we have big firefights in like
Yeah,
Arena Commander and stuff. Um, yeah.
I'll say Master Modes is on all the ships, and
Yep.
like that's a thing, and it's honestly something that you like sort of notice sometimes but also don't notice. I
Mhm.
had a lot of issues with it in the first build. Taking off
Yep.
was very weird and broken. I didn't have those issues in the second build. So again, stability wise things improved a bit, and there were I think it just became easier to use. And I will say, like, I didn't notice master modes being that painful while I was playing. Like uh, the SCM versus the nav speed, it wasn't like I thought I was expecting it to be like a very noticeable difference, and I was just playing
Yep.
stars. I felt like I was still just playing Star Citizen, and
Yep.
like yeah, I pressed B a few times to go faster, but
Sure.
that was it. Outside that, like all the icons are on the screen, like all the quantum markers looks terrible when you're
Okay.
trying to just move a little faster. But I don't know. That was it for me. But that's going to be a preference thing or If
Yeah.
that's just like a personal feeling about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I took up enough of the of the show. The only other
I
thing I
mean,
would
like I said, I had nothing to offer today, so this is
Overdrive.
my education. I haven't been able to do overdrive this week. I'm doing
Oh,
it
okay.
tomorrow.
Yeah, gotcha. You played it in PTU though. I
Yeah, I
I
did
th-
play it a bit. Yeah.
this was my most disappointing one out of all the
Really? Worse
phases.
than two?
Worse than two.
Wow.
Here's why. Everything
Yeah.
leading up to this one, you needed a team
Hmm.
to kind. You didn't need a team, but it was better
You,
with the
you were
team.
incentivized. Yeah.
Yeah. So even number 2, where it was like kill a not hard ship to kill and then get out of your ship and grab this thing. Like
Hmm.
we all went on a redeemer, we killed the ships, and then somebody got out and grabbed the uh whatever you call it, the crypto key.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like even then we were like doing group things. This one is a global event that either spawns at Hurston or Yella,
Yep.
or Hurston or Crusader, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're incentivized to just stay where you are and wait for the coin flip to end up in yours, because once it ends, like you can take it. It's like Wake of Disaster. Everybody sees it. There's no buy-in for
Yep.
it, and you accept it. All you have to do is 5 of these. They are identical, and
Hmm.
you just do the mission. You have to kill 24 ships. That's it.
Yep.
And it's not 24 that you have to kill. It's 24 of the people who accepted the mission. That's
Yep.
it. Or even have not accepted the mission. Just 24
Yeah.
ships have to die. So it happens quite quickly. So if you are at Crusader after completing level 1, and then you accept the second one, and it's at Hurston, don't take it.
Sure.
Just let
Because
it finish.
it's gonna finish quick enough. Yeah.
It'll finish. It'll abandon for you. It'll not be completed. You won't lose any rep or anything like that. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully the coin flip ends up back at Yella. Basically, I
Yeah.
had 4 in a row at Yella, and then the
Yeah.
last one took a couple tries and then ended up back at Yella. And I just sat there and waited. And you don't have to do anything. Everybody can kill the ships, and you just sit there. It just felt more hands off in comparison to all the other missions. That, like, from a mission standpoint, this one was the worst for me.
It's interesting that when people were complaining about the original mission and it being too hard to grab and so no one being able to participate in the mission, like I knew that this one was coming, that it was like this server wide version of a mission,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hoping that they'll kind of alleviate it. Obviously, it sounds like it's gone too far in the other direction, where it obviously either needs to be more challenging or that one needs not to be server wide, right?
Exactly, because the mission is
Yeah.
completing before you get there. Because what was happening to people
Yeah.
is they were in Quantum, and people were waiting at the event in the event area, and then the event
Mhm.
would pop, and they would just do it. And you got there, and it was finishing. And if you
Yeah.
didn't get there in time, you didn't get credit for the mission. So now you're quantuming back and forth, and like it was just
Yeah.
it just made sense to sit there and wait.
Yeah.
Which was not
That's fair enough. I think there's a
not a
reason.
great
There's a
experience.
reasonable gripes. There's a reasonable gripes. It's presenting an issue that we haven't really had in Star Citizen before, where a large group mission is too fast. Because a lot of the time you get those big missions where it's just like you've got to kill Idrises, where even if you have like 50 people, it still takes quite a while, to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, we were talking just before ATC about that. I do wonder if when we come back to this, because it's very inevitable that we're going to see these happen again at some point in the next like year or two.
For sure.
If they change that mission around, either make it harder, make it so that it is, locked to a certain group, or even the case of just like if you spawned more of those, the spread of people would go out a little bit wider and the missions would take a little bit longer.
Oh, I
don't know.
see from Aimless in the Twitch chat. Actually, it was somebody else. But Aimless said they had one mission where there was only one other person there. It was challenging.
Yeah.
highly
When we did it on
suggest.
the PTU, it was challenging.
Yeah,
Like we
exactly.
had 3 people doing it, and it wasn't like it was very, very fun, actual challenging thing. And we were even in a retaliator. It's just
Ex-
there was so many things to fight.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
There's a ship, there's formations with like light fighters and cutlasses with the hammerheads. It like they're
Yep.
all flying together too, which is kind of cool. But
Hmm.
the only suggestion I would make is find a server that is empty.
Yeah.
So go on like an Australian server in the middle of the night for them. Go on a US server in the middle of the night for them. That kind of thing. And then
Yep.
maybe you'll find the challenge and it might be more fun.
Yep.
So just go on your prime time, go on a different server to find their off time, and then you might have a
Yep.
more enjoyable experience. But So Hacky in Twitch chat says Siege had the same issue as this. This is the same, like kind of in a
Mm,
very
sort of, yeah.
in a much less bad way. I think this was the same problem as Siege. Just people were able to just do it before you can experience it, and you're just like, okay, I guess this ended.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'm over in Microtech, Siege just started. By the time I get there, you guys are already on the second platform, and
Yep.
then by the time it takes me to get to the platform, you guys have finished it. That sort of thing.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah,
just like,
that's a big
why
issue.
did I do this? You know, so
Yeah.
that's kind of how it felt. My only other gripe is the one that I've had throughout the entire thing, and that is that this was supposed to be like a lore-filled thing. At least I thought it was going to be. The narrative
Mm.
sections of the monthly report keep talking a lot of game, and I'm not
Yeah.
seeing a lot of action from them in this in particular. And I was really hoping to get a deeper story than this, and the story has been incredibly subpar and
Yeah.
almost non-existent. That would be
Yeah.
my sadness about this one. I was really excited. It was like, what was on the crypto keys at the bunkers that we were finding? And they were like, oh, a location for some ships for you to kill, to find a
Yeah.
location for more ships for you to kill. And it was just like, ugh, where's the
Yeah.
depth to this? Because if
Yeah.
we're going to have crappy similar missions that we've always had, which is essentially what all this is, um,
Yep.
add some depth to it in a different way. We know there's no economy. We know there's no crafting. We know there's none of that stuff. The only depth they can add is a cool story, and
Yep.
we didn't get that with this so far, at least. Still 2 more
Yeah.
phases. You know the story. I don't. So I'm, you know,
Well,
obviously
I'll just say because
it obviously
it's
leads
not
into
really.
Xeno threat. It's not a
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah
It's not a spoiler. This is the pre-Xeno threat event,
yeah
and like the last mission ends with you finding out that that's gonna happen.
yeah,
Right? It's like, hey, Xeno threat's about to like they're about to attack INS Jericho.
which is
So
fair
yeah,
of why it's not. Maybe that's a reason why it's not that exciting. But even
yeah,
just
but
like
it
some
could
voice
still have
act,
more.
yeah, some
Yeah,
voice acting, some like the thing that hurts it for me is I complete the missions and nothing happens. So
yeah,
usually when you complete a mission, if you don't get a reward in terms of money, or I mean, I guess in this you get money, but again, money is more meaningless in our
it's
game
irrelevant
right
at the moment.
now.
Yep.
Um, or like an item or whatever,
Hmm.
you would at least get a new step of the story. And when you complete
Yep.
any of these phases, nothing happens, and you wait a
Hmm.
week, and that's when you find out what you know. It's just kind of like, it's very anticlimactic each phase. That's my
Yep.
biggest bit of feedback, and
Yep.
I'd love to see some excitement at the end of each phase, even if it's not each individual mission that you do, you get that excitement, but when you complete the last one, maybe you get that bit of
Mm.
excitement. That would be
Yep.
nice. Give me a little reward at the end. It doesn't have to be a physical one or anything like that. But oh, I
Yeah.
forgot. We're
Just something
getting our
tangible.
reward. Go buy the ship on the store. Then you get your reward. I forgot how this works. I forgot what game we were playing.
Cannot wait to use that upgrade to something else.
Yeah, can't wait to use that upgrade on the ship that I'm not going to pay real money for. So, yeah, sad.
Anyway, we've been talking for an hour. Let's get some callers in here to talk about everything that happened this week.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I
let's get Space
I'm
Monkey business.
I might skip Tumblerino up in front of
Mhm.
some of you guys, just because I think he has. Remember, we asked somebody to come in and give us some insight on something. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, the Pirates esport event that happened, the FPS event.
We'll go to our first caller first, and then Tumblr. Let me know in chat if that's what you want to talk about, and I'll.
My camera turned off. What just happened?
No,
Oh no, I'm there.
I did not put
We're good.
Yeah, I minimized Discord.
All good.
That's what
I'm
happens when
very
I do that.
concerned about my camera at the moment. I accidentally left it up from Answer the Call last week. I left it turned on until yesterday by accident.
Oh, I always leave mine on, but I've also been having like overheating problems and things like that as well. So I'm like, ugh.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
that's no
freaking
fun.
out about mine also
Yep.
lately. All right, so we're gonna just for all the other callers in the queue, we're gonna have Tumble skip because I want to hear about that. Or
Mhm.
we don't have to actually, but I initially was going to. But we will get to Tumblr no matter what because I do want to hear more about that. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's go to our first caller, who is Space Monkey Business.
How you doing, Space Monkey?
Hey, how are you doing, guys?
What's up?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Good, good. I was too busy to hop on past shows, but today I thought, it's Easter. Got some time. Hop on and ask you some questions, also talk a bit.
Well,
Sweet.
ask away.
I think we should stick to the title. Is it living up to the hype? And I think I would add to for whom. I mean, for somebody who actually plays the game on a maybe daily or more regular basis and hops in with friends and does some stuff here and there. I think it's a great patch because it has a lot of quality of life. But for me, besides maybe master modes, there is not much in it that makes me play the game differently, since I'm waiting more for the progression and the purpose stuff, like Mike.
Sure. I
So
do wonder if because it wasn't in the Evocati patch this week, I do wonder if reputation hostility could lead towards that in some aspect.
I don't
But we'll
think
probably have to
so.
wait.
Yeah,
yeah.
it seems like what will lead into it at some point, but maybe not. But almost certainly not in 323. It just
Okay.
feels more of the first piece of that puzzle with
Mm.
the way they've described it. But we'll see because it's so important.
Yeah, true. Question to Mike. No space cows?
No,
Sad.
Do we think we'll get him or
I don't
Why
know.
not? I mean,
If
yeah.
they were there, I couldn't find them, and nobody else could either.
Yeah.
yeah. Also saw no leaked pictures of that stuff, so I think they were not in that build.
Yeah.
Zach
Besides,
trying to troll everyone again. Sorry,
Yeah.
Zach has been on a trolling
what
brigade
is
all
he?
over Twitter and everywhere for the last
I
week and a
know.
half.
People hate this
Trying to
guy
Yeah.
convince
enough for
everyone to over
Sniper
there.
Glint. Don't troll them with space cows, man.
Wait till you
Oh
get
my
cow
God.
glint.
Yeah.
Cow glint. Oh my God. Yeah, towards your comment at the end or at the end of your talk, the story stuff. I mean, for me, the world at the moment, I mean, it would be really hard to compare it to like World of Warcraft or something where you have like an elaborate world and characters and huge story arcs or something like that. But for me, there's no real character to the universe at the moment. I mean, you have no factions, you have no
Yeah.
characters you can identify with, and I hope they will bring that in. But at the moment, it's like pretty shallow
Well, we used
when
to
it comes
have
to
that
story.
in like up until like 2019, I think was the last time they put a mission giver in. All
Yeah.
of those characters tended to have like a little bit of stuff to them, right? And they had like a little bit of faction lore and stuff to them. Obviously, the priorities changed of like, well, we want the better missions to be in before we actually put in,
Mhm.
you know, people to interact with those and then start that sort of story stuff. And I think that is the better priority. But I would also imagine once and I do think it'll take until Squadron releases. Once that happens, we will probably get a little bit more of that. At least I hope we will. Like you said, I don't think it'll be on the level of like World of Warcraft because the point of Squadron is to play a story game. But I do think it'll be something a little bit better that'll grasp us a bit more into the game.
Mm.
It needs to be.
Yeah.
It's the part of Star Citizen that I think has for a game that is so incomplete and so broken and just isn't there yet. It's one of the pieces that is the most missing in a
Yeah.
game that has almost
Yeah.
everything missing, right?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, when you take like Hurston as an example, you have a possibility to tell some cool stories. You have this
Yeah.
family with some strange strange behavior. I would say enslaving, not enslaving, but
I don't even think you need to
somewhat in
go
this
that far.
Just
direction.
because I don't pay my employees doesn't
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
good.
Something like
I don't
this.
even think you need to go that far. Like here's just like a simple thing that I feel like we could have had if the AI ever worked. Is like
Mhm.
you're just walking around a place like Hurston, and the conversations that the AI are having with each other tell the story of the city you're in. Right? This is in
Yeah, yeah.
every other video game that's existed for years. It was in Skyrim, for God's sakes, right? Like that kind of thing has been. This isn't a new thing. This isn't
Mm.
a new idea. This wouldn't be like a mind blowing thing to be in Star Citizen. It's
Oh,
just
for sure.
those are the pieces that are missing. At Microtech, the conversation should be different. At Orison,
hmm
different, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but
Because that can easily tell you so much more about the world you're walking around in than
Yeah.
like you don't need to do these like elaborate mission chains with all this super story in them.
Yeah, yeah.
Little stuff
no.
like that is goes so far,
And
and people
also
don't realize it.
make it feel a lot more lived in
Yeah,
versus right now where essentially all NPCs in locations are, even when their AI is working, are essentially just like blind zombies. The only people who talk to you are the people at the stores who, to
Yeah.
be fair, do tell you to get lost. And I actually kind of like that. Someone's finally talking to me, right? But
Yeah, but
yeah,
just what I meant is like you have a possibility because you see glimpses of the
yeah,
possibility to tell those stories,
yep,
but
hmm
it needs to be built.
yeah. And
And
I'm
and
not
even if
saying we need that prioritized today, right now, this minute.
no,
But the thing for
yeah, no.
me is that every monthly report I keep reading about how important this is to them and how much of an effort they're making towards it, it just doesn't show in the game.
yeah, yeah,
Where is all
yeah,
I
this?
tell you what it is. That is a 1.0 roadmap must.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think.
kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
kind of. I mean, if you want to make it a bit more alive, you could actually also start maybe just introduce some NPCs who fly around, like doing some cargo stuff. That would be
Oh my
cool.
god. We had that in like 3.5.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Interesting.
Not to mention we've also
NPCs
had
taking off and landing.
the better we've had the better version of that tech with the reinforcements for like a while now.
Yep.
It's been like a few years, right? So
But the better version is a
sorry,
tough one.
the more current version, I guess.
Yeah,
is
because
the more accurate way of saying it.
the Cutlass landing on top of the dead Cutlass over and over again is hard to call the better version.
The
So
dead,
They're just
dead
replicating
version.
what players do.
yeah, exactly, right?
Two things or one thing to 3.3. I think if it comes to content, I think I'm looking into how the new blockade runner stuff will be and the new Xeno threat.
Mhm.
That are interesting things for me we did not mention so far.
Is
And
do we know if the plan is to play through Overdrive in 322 and then the later stages are in 323? This was something somebody asked me earlier.
The implication was that 323 would have Xeno threat, and so
Mhm.
this is the pre-patch event is the overdrive part, and then whether it's as a launch or like a couple of weeks after launch, Xeno threat will be then. I don't 100% remember where I heard it. I may be making it up, but I feel like I remember hearing it from Jared and possibly in a post as well.
Okay.
That's the implication.
Okay.
Yeah. Besides that, I think I'm still also waiting for the roadmap. I think it doesn't mean that they will get back to their original mode of stretching the roadmap out and telling everybody they will reach that and that point in 6 months. I think they will still stick with the one patch ahead, but they will, I guess, or I hope they will use the progress tracker to point out the long-term plan. And this changes all the time, so isn't really accountable.
Is that in reference to the 1.0 roadmap that they're talking about?
Yeah, I guess so. I
Right.
think they're working on that, and they maybe paint like a broad picture, but I
Mhm.
don't think. I think that was a thing Mike said. Hopefully, they
what
don't
does
go
that
back
help?
to that.
What does
I don't
this
know.
do? What does it do? What's the point?
I mean,
Don't ask me.
it tells us what their goals are for a release, right?
Yeah, that are all going to
Which
change.
no, that's the thing. The last time we had that was like pre-2020. It's been a long while since there's been a remotely concrete but not necessarily accurate concrete idea of what CIG want the release to be. And that's obviously been a very deliberate, like, we're going to stop telling you because we're probably going to come up with more features next month. And that it is something we need to know. The problem is it won't be accurate. And I don't think that's a problem, but it will be a problem sort of publicity wise, because people will treat it as gospel.
Yeah. Let's see how they communicate it this time. And hopefully
Yeah.
they learn from their mistakes.
Just don't communicate it. Just make the game and then release it
Yeah.
when you're ready
Yeah,
to.
true.
It's like pretty simple.
Yeah. Maybe they need the I don't know, the feeling that they work towards a goal and it's maybe I don't know, communicate it out. I don't know.
Like here's why
Well,
I
like
posed,
they need. Yeah, go ahead.
here's just why I posed the question that's below us on the screen. It is, we are in an Evo patch in April now, essentially, that is missing wild amounts of the content that are in the cards. And of the content that's in there, none of it is even remotely what people would expect it or want it to be like, outside of a few features. So they did the same thing that they're doing with this 1.0 and hyping everything up like this is the biggest patch we've ever had. Brother, it looks like just like any other patch right now to me. If it went to PTU today, it would look like 320. That's what it would look like. It doesn't like there are big major things in there. Okay, there were big major things in 320 that were cool to check out, right? So are they taking this thing and overhyping it? And then when you see the pace in which these things are coming into Evo, and you're seeing all these other issues that are going on, are they going to be able to live up to the hype that they're creating for themselves? And are they digging themselves in this hole again? And to me, I'm not going to answer yes or no yet. Entirely, because it's hard to say, because it's kind of why the question that I posed here is pretty stupid. I just really couldn't come up with a title. I was struggling so much.
Mike was very asleep this morning.
Yeah, I was struggling with it. It's not a very good discussion topic, but they are over promising potentially that they're going to under deliver on. So it just feels like they're doing the same thing with 1.0. They're so happy with all the things that happened at CitizenCon, but nothing happened yet.
Yeah. On the start bit that you said there, Mike, you may have blocked it completely out of your mind. I imagine a lot of Star Citizens did. How long, if you can recall, was 318 is probably the better example. How long was 318 in Evocati for?
Oh God, I don't know. Maybe a month.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if we're sort of at this stage of like, these Evocati patches don't feel too
no,
great.
maybe like
of course,
a few weeks.
You know what I mean?
A few weeks.
Sure.
2.5, maybe.
Well,
3 weeks.
it's been 4 days, 5 days.
A week.
We've had 2 patches, and even within them, like at least from the videos that you posted, even within them, there was a massive improvement in the second one for some of the features, right? So, once again, not that I want it to go to PTU today. I was kind of hoping it was good enough to, but it sounds like it's not. I don't know where I was going. I hope everyone who was watching understood what I was trying to say there and put that in context with what Mike said before.
You're just saying calm down.
I don't know.
Calm down. It's going to sit in PTU. It'll get there, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what you're trying to say. And that's
totally
fair. That's a totally fair assessment.
I got it. The specific reason I said 318 is because the only big underlying tech thing that we have that could potentially push this back really far is server crash recovery, which we didn't talk about either.
Mean your replication layer.
Yes, sorry.
I have some info on that.
Yeah. So sorry to keep interrupting you, Space Monkey Business.
No.
Mike,
Also your show.
just really quick. No, it's your show, chat. And if you want to call in, you can go to discord.gg/SaltEMike. Yeah, Mike, if you can just like really quickly
I mean,
just talk about
things.
that.
So the first patch, it recovered, and then
Yep.
it recovered so well that it would recover the crash that was causing the crash. So it crashed in a loop over and over again to the point where I
It
think they
recovered
talked
the bug itself.
exactly. So they talked about turning it off.
Yeah.
They didn't turn it off for the second one, and it did that again. It seemed like, but eventually it recovered, and
Yeah.
like I talked to Morph late last night. He sent a message and was like, "I don't know what you're talking about it being stable because I can't even get out of the city."
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was recovering because Ahmed and team were watching over it while we were playing, because
Yeah.
I only played Friday night, and I played so much that I didn't want to look at Star Citizen on Saturday. So I'm not sure. Like, we were on Shard 10. Shard 10 was very bad. It crashed constantly. Sometimes
Okay.
I would get an hour, and sometimes I would get 2 minutes.
Okay.
So it's still very unstable, but replication layer works. And the biggest issue with it, and this is where I have some new info, is
Mhm.
any mission you accept just fails every time the server crashes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what the experience we have today. So it's not the improvement for replication layers. You just don't have to do the corpse run or whatever every time from a city or from a station. That's all it's solving right now. And I asked kind of Elliot, because he was in Twitch chat today, like, yo, what's the deal? Because I assumed Elliot handled all that stuff, but he doesn't.
Oh.
There's like another team that does the code behind the missions, and they're working diligently at that while, because you're seeing things like Overdrive, you're seeing things like these new missions pop up in Evo for gathering horns. Like, what are you doing, mission team?
Yeah.
Should you not be fixing this major issue with them? They are. It's just a matter of there's probably a lot of missions and so on and so forth. They didn't really give me the answer as why it's taking so long, but that there is a separation from familiar faces here in on Twitch and on YouTube and on Reddit is like Elliot and Lars and Max and Phil. Like, there's these guys that hang out a lot and talk a lot about their work in the community. Those guys are all designers for the most part, or producers, and the coders don't talk to us. So we don't know anything about what they're doing. So the people who communicate to us and are on the front lines don't seem phased by this, because they're just adding more missions and making more stuff happen. So like, while they're waiting for the code, what do they call them? Code monkeys or whatever, to do their thing. They're doing their thing. They're adding things like Overdrive in and these missions to gather horns. So we have something interesting to do. So just to like clear that up for people in case you're like, yo, what the hell? Because it doesn't look like missions are going to recover in 3.23. And that's going to be a big bummer.
It'll be annoying, but with the context of everything else in regards to that is still kind of better. So it's like,
But maybe they get the patch pretty stable, so that won't be a big issue.
Not when it affects your reputation.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, if we don't crash. The reason I specifically wanted to bring that aspect up, though, is historically, at least for the last few years, the main thing that continues to be broken and is usually harder to fix with each patch are not the features, with the exception of like balance. Balance is still sort of always up in the air with a lot of these features. It almost always is something in the back end, whether it's PES, whether it's the all the new server meshing stuff, whatever it might be. When they bring in like a new location, that tends to get fixed pretty quickly. When they bring in a new mission, tends to get fixed pretty quickly. So I have a lot of confidence in those things. I'm really curious, how long is it going to take for us to get this
the old stuff
ready? So
yeah.
All right.
Sorry, Space Monkey, for taking up your entire call.
No, that's fine. It's okay. I mean, I'm also curious about your comments about the stuff we're talking about. So, one last thing, and then I'm done.
Okay.
How do you feel about the ISCs? Because they did a different approach. They had this big episode at the beginning where they basically spoiled every topic, and now you're just like getting those topics over and over again. And also the idea of make an ISC and then do an STL on the next week about it, which I like. But
Yep.
this episode at the beginning somehow I lost the feeling of surprise. It's like, okay, yeah, I know what's coming. And besides the cargo episode, there was not really interesting stuff for me so far. I mean, it's
Even this
good to
cargo
see. And
episode was missing a ton.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
I will
missing
say,
the missions and reputation and possible rewards. Maybe there is a
yeah.
episode coming up. I hope.
I hope as well.
Let's see.
I will say, at
But-
least with this ISC, in terms of like a surprise factor, we did essentially get spoiled of what the like UI has looked like the entire last couple of months. There's been little smatterings here and there at every single
Yeah.
ISC, so there wasn't a ton new for them to show us. It was more just them getting into specifics, which is kind of what me and Mike were talking about at the start of the pod, where it was like, this is still a thing that you have to talk about because it's such an integral part of the game, but it's not as impactful as all of these other things are because it's not as shiny, I guess.
Yeah.
For me, it's like missing a bit about hearing about things that are outside 3.2.3 as a patch,
Mhm.
and maybe also the sprint reports where you just like see little glimpses of things that hopefully come in a couple of months, but are more far out. So I kind of miss those sprint reports a bit.
I think they'll come back when he has nothing.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
see.
He's right now getting all of those sprint reports we haven't had. They're all getting bunched together into a massive sprint report in like a couple months' time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's it for me.
Awesome. Well, cheers for calling in, as always. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cheers for having me, as always.
I
No
will
worries.
I'll let you go, Space Monkey, but I'm gonna make a comment a little bit on the spoiling of things and stuff like that real quick. So thank you, Space Monkey. I just pushed him out by accident. I let go of my mouse. The I am at the end of every video, and this included, I want to say this.
Mhm.
I don't want to talk about Evo, right? But you
Yep.
kind of have to because everybody wants to know this information. At the end of each video Evo update that I've been doing, is your audience like wants it, or the general Star Citizen audience wants to hear this stuff, so you tell
Yep.
them. But I don't like it for the reasons that we just talked about ISC. How nice would it have been if we went live and you just were walking in a forest to kill a bounty and a animal came out and killed you? But now everybody knows that they're there. They know exactly how to find them. They know what's on them, and they know everything before they even get to see it. They know everything, and it's like I feel guilty talking about any of this stuff, but you're forced to.
Unfortunately, what you're describing though is not a Star Citizen problem. That is literally an internet problem since like the 90s.
Yes,
is you just cannot like the information will be out there.
Yeah.
Before companies want them, whether they want them to or not, it's going to be out there before release, and we're not going to get back to that stage ever, unfortunately.
Yes, but I think what other game companies do is the Evo phase would be done internally, so nobody ever sees it.
Essentially QA.
The Wave 1 phase would likely be done internally, and then Wave 2 is where everybody is able to log in and experience it. So if you experience it on a PTU, everyone that plays Star Citizen regularly has Wave 2. If you don't, I'd be very surprised, right? So that's an opportunity where you get to experience it for the first time yourself without anybody else. And yes, if you got in 5 hours after the initial test and the YouTubers got to it, they got to it, and you happen to see that, oops, you're spoiled, right? Like that sucks.
Yep.
What I do in that case, click the 3 dots and say unfollow, do not share this content with me anymore from this channel, right? Like I saw an image of the dog on a YouTube video. That YouTube channel will never show up on my feed again, right? I saw the image of the Arastra before it was available. That dude's YouTube channel I will never see again. Those kind of things. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, let your let your creators know. For me,
Yeah.
it's been the opposite. It's like, well, how was Evo? 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 And
Yeah, I think yeah.
I get the opportunity to say how it is, and I like that we don't get to show it, but at the same time, there's way too much information to share, and I will be honest. We talked about this before in one of our earlier podcasts when we first started. The only thing I ever advocated for was the patch notes. That's it.
Yeah.
Just talk, like, just show the cards of what's in the patch. Talk to us, and like, just let us know what you're planning on doing, and that's it. And if we were never allowed to talk about anything else, I would have been like, cool, because that's all I ever advocated for. This, they went so far where it forces you to spoil things to your audience and making the game less exciting for them, and it sucks. Like, I got to experience the dogs in a way that you never will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Which the way they were performing sounds like a good thing in my way.
Yeah, but you're probably going to experience the same performance. Let's
Yeah,
be real.
probably.
Any AI issues are not going to be resolved in 323.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I still think in general, what they chose to let people do in regards to Evocardia was a good thing. That was more positive than negative.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the like yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled by things, because this is now coming more to like a creator opinion thing. Like if you don't want to spoil things or you don't want to be spoiled by things, then it comes down to you sort of have to police yourself because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That people are going to spoil those things. And
asked
like I
my
said,
audience.
it is not a Star Citizen issue, right? Like the one thing, Mike, that I regret being too young to know is when Magic the Gathering used to not have spoiler season. And you would come day one to the new set release and not know a single card there, and it was impossible to know. And then someone decided, what if we put those cards on the internet? So yeah, now it's obviously a lot worse. But I mean, that's sort of just the way it is.
People have decks created before you can ever even open a pack.
There was a guy, this is such a tangent, but there was a guy who was a professional Magic player and managed to get the entire set leaked to him like 2 months beforehand. And he got banned because he essentially had 2 extra months of testing before the Pro Tour.
So he would just draw the card, like he would just have cards.
Yeah, he was like, I know what all these
himself.
cards are. I'm just gonna like write up what the cards are and whatever. And then yeah, he got banned for like 10 years or something, because he was able to play the game. He was able to play with the cards for way earlier than everyone else was.
Okay.
Anyway, that is nothing to do with Evocardi, but it's just
but
like
it is
like
like
leak story.
I think occasionally, like on days that we have a bit more time, I think tangents are okay like this. It's an interesting story. But yeah, I mean, in the end, I asked the audience, and it was overwhelmingly, please do this.
Yeah.
And nobody said don't. And I'm like, okay. Like, I know, like, my best performing videos in recent time, I'm complaining about having to do. But it's one of those things where it's like a more moral thing. It feels morally gray and doesn't feel right. So even though they let us do it, doesn't mean we should.
I think it's also, it may just be a case of, because it's been so long not being able to do it, it does feel wrong, but like, it won't eventually because everyone's doing it. I
also love that I got shit for posting those videos when I never posted a single thing when we weren't allowed to. That was my favorite.
I'm gonna go dislike your videos right now.
that was my favorite thing about this week.
Yeah.
Because I've been nothing but a good boy for this whole time.
I've been a good boy, Daddy CIG. Please give me ships.
I have been. It's been ridiculous. All right, let's get to our next callers, though.
Yeah.
Manila Garlic. Manila Garlic.
How you doing, Manila?
First time caller, I think.
That's right. How you guys doing?
How can I forget a name like
Welcome in.
Manila Garlic, right? That had to be a first-time caller. If I didn't know that name, it'd be surprising. That name's awesome.
Thanks, guys. I just want to say appreciate the show and happy to be here.
Awesome. What do you want to talk about?
Specifically with distribution centers, what are your thoughts on what a successful balance looks like between mining, hauling, and salvaging?
Crafting.
Yep.
Like, is it? I don't know if that's a weird thing to say. There's no such thing as balance in video games. I know this is going to be
Well,
crazy. There is, but you should
there's no
not.
perfect balance.
Yeah, and you should
Yeah.
not try to make mining, cargo hauling, and salvaging equal each other in terms of like money per hour or anything like that. So I think the only way I can answer your question is the perfect balance between them would be they all do something a little bit different, but all those things are useful and purposeful and needed.
There are reasons that someone will do, like there are reasons that there will be people doing all three.
Yes, but
Yeah,
there will
that's what
always be a time where doing one over the other will be more lucrative,
of course. Yeah.
right? And that might change occasionally. Does that make sense?
It does, and the question kind of spurs from what you saw, like the drug war. You know, the drug wars were one thing, but this whole thing with reclaimers. I mean, 90% of the servers are filled with people just doing salvaging. You know, and it completely flipped the economy on its head. You know, 890 jumps. You see them every. You know, no one cares anymore, and they used to be an event kind of thing. You know.
I've also noticed so many people asking me, "Will there be a wipe in 323?" And I think that's why.
Yeah.
Right. And the only thing I can say to what you just said is the monthly report they went through and they looked at salvage. What they gave us no details. What that means, I don't know. So we'll see. I don't know if I want a wipe in 323. I want one patch where they can prove that all of the ships that people purchased in game and all of the components that people purchased in game made it from one patch to another. And they have yet to do that. Once they do that, wipe away. That's my thing. So let's get a wipe in 321.1 or 323.1, and then, but maybe not in 323. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Because I was gonna say, like, I definitely want them to prioritize a wipe because the incentive to me to play the PU right now is essentially non-existent.
Same.
Other than like events.
Same.
But yeah, if it's like, yeah, cool,
from a let's
do
make
it,
the
but then
game
soon
good
after, sure.
Yeah, let's make the game good standpoint. Let's prove that you guys are able to persist shit. Then once they can do that, please wipe. But until you can, I don't think they should because I think having the money to purchase the ships to see if things carry over is quite useful for right now. I've done it every patch and so far I've been able to, but I don't know.
Well, if that's the case, I suppose we don't have to worry about hangar sizes since everyone's going to have the biggest one, right?
Good point.
Possibly.
Good point.
We'll find out
now.
Yeah, we'll hopefully find out during the Q&A this week if it is going to be related to pledge or to, you know, board in game or to changing all that sort of stuff. Because we talked a little bit about this last week, right? One thing that I had completely forgotten is that you have hangers in your pledge. Which if they turn it, we still don't know if they're going to turn that on now, but that would sort of insinuate that the hanger size is going to be related to pledge store possibly. Hope it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're making a video game. And that again was the most disappointing thing about that particular ISC was it seemed very pledge store related and we're making design decisions off of pledge store stuff and not in-game stuff. So it's like, what?
Yep.
Kind of sad. What else you got, man?
Just to shift a little bit to racing, you two have been major proponents of it, and you kind of inspired me to look into it as well. And it's actually pretty cool. Yeah. I agree with every video that anyone makes on it. If it helps you be a better not driver but pilot. So my question to you guys is, how far do you see yourselves going in racing? Are you going to join the leagues? Are you going to look to compete? Do you guys have plans on becoming the next Scott Speed or Daniel Ricciardo?
I already was. I'm washed now. I'm trash now. So the reason that I'm in the racing community is like 2-3 years ago, I went really, really hard into it. I was #1 qualifier for the first System 7. I got the first SCR Time Trial Masters win. I've never really been into flying racing, but all the ground racing stuff I was always heavily in. Now I'm garbage, and everyone who's actually good at racing has popped up. So I'm going to let them do it, but I'm going to cheer them on the whole time.
If there's more tracks like Clio Islands, I will go pretty hard on racing.
Oh, I've got a track for you, Mike.
Yeah?
I've got a track for you. Yeah. It is in the PU, but we're pushing on Duncan to put it into Arena Commander because it's so good. Yeah.
I love the flat, windy, turny kind of tracks. Like think Old Vanderwalt too, like the short ones, short lap times, things like that. I can find myself diving very hard into it. But it's hard because every time, I'm sure Croncy's seen this too, every time I go race on stream, like nobody's talking anymore and everyone
it's so
leaves.
bad for stream.
Yeah,
it's just so bad for stream.
It's just not a bad, it's just not a good thing to do on stream. And the thing is like everybody has their video game time, right? It's usually after work for them. Mine is during work, and that is my only video game time, really, right? Like there's other things that are going on that I have to do. So the only time I really do get to grind sometimes is on stream, and yeah, it's one of those things just like I should not be doing this. I want to, but I should not. Like right before stream, I just lowered my best time by like half a second again, and I like found a little bit more time, and now I'm excited and I want to go and grind it again. And yeah, but it takes like I have more hours in Clio Islands than everybody but one other person, right? Like,
which is Moldan, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like you need to dedicate a lot of time. So to answer your question, almost definitely not. I will almost definitely not dedicate time to become a top racer. I think one of the reasons why I have a decent time is because of the friction or decent spot on the leaderboards is because of the friction it takes to get a decent spot on the leaderboards I was willing to deal with. Where better racers aren't. There are better racers in these communities on websites and shit that they're not on those leaderboards. Or some of them are, but they're not as high up on as they are in the times that they have on their websites because of that. So, yeah.
Yep.
So I want to, but I doubt I will. But it's one of the things I was always hyped about. One of the first ships I bought after my initial pledge was an M50 because I was obsessed with racing. Loved racing games always. But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about, Manila?
No, I appreciate you guys' time. I will say that, like a lot of people have noticed, I thoroughly get a kick out of the fact that it's called a copian, and it's so close to copium.
Who named that thing? I want to know.
Like, I want to know the person on the narrative team.
Exactly. I want to know what the thought process was there, if that was involved in it, because that is funny.
I love it. Well, thank you guys for everything. I'm looking forward to the next videos and the rest of the content today. Y'all have a good one.
You too, man. Bye now.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much.
Nice. Straight to the point. Quick caller.
And with the nice ego rub to us as well.
Of course. That's always important. All right. I think another first-time caller. Warbot Nix, first time. How you doing?
Warbot.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Am I right as a first time? I'm like, we've been doing this for so many years now. I'm not sure sometimes.
Yes, this is my first time getting on because I am not a morning person. Every time I get up,
sorry.
I even set an alarm last week, trying to catch him the last week, and I'm like, nope, never mind, going back to bed. Yeah.
What do you want to talk about today?
Well, actually, I do have a quick question about a few of the UI elements.
Sure.
So one of the UI elements that I was a little concerned about was actually on the star map. So from what I saw at CitizenCon, it was in a circle area in the middle of the screen. Is that too constrictive, or do you think that that's enough space to do what you need to do to get around the place and navigate? Because I feel like there is some missed opportunity to try to expand that to, at least take up more of the screen.
You answer first. I'm going to bring up the star map demo from CitizenCon, and because I have the ability to have seen the new one, I think I have some context I can add to it. Croncy, I'm just bringing it up now.
Well, that's the thing. I can't really answer it because I didn't get into Evocati.
Okay, so I think that's fine. I have it.
All I've really seen is like the ISEs and stuff, and so I'm not 100% sure where it's like where they've gone.
I think it's the way he asked the question, which is what maybe is confusing. So look at the screen. He's asking if this little circle that is not taking up a majority of the screen is enough room to get the information that you need.
Oh, sure.
So that's why I was like, yeah, you could take this one while I'm bringing it up. I mean, look at the visual on the screen now. Sure. I see the names of the planets. I see I can see visually the planets, what they look like. I can tell what they are without having to see the names. If you're familiar with the game, there's, I guess, room for additional thing. Like you can even see the location of where you're at on the bottom right, things like that, right?
Yep.
So what has changed is where it says select has turned into search. And when you search, the search options will go down here. And let's say I choose Orison. Orison will show up here. I click on it, and then all this information on Orison is here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was just a lot of empty space.
Is there time of day shading in 323, Derval? I see him mentioning it, and it's something I have not mentioned yet, and I'm 99% sure I saw it on the star map as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to let him answer it in chat. Yeah, there is. Okay. So that's another thing that's on the map that isn't here, that is on the map in 323. Have not mentioned that in any of my videos yet. That's massive. That's a big thing too. So you could be like, oh, is this on the light side or the dark side? And you can make your choices on where you're going on a planet. But the reason it's center is because there's actual information they want to provide to you on the right and left sides. And you are in the new map interacting way more on the right and left side than you actually are with the map. I never have to zoom out of the map, click on Crusader, click on Orison to get to Orison. I just type it on the left side and press R. And that's it.
Did you ever like spend some time trying to explore the map, not through putting in the filter and stuff?
And it's shit.
How was that? Okay.
Shit, because there's white text on the white background of Microtech. I can't see anything. So from a visual standpoint, as far as the markers, the mission markers, it is actually right now in the state in Evo, caveat city, it's worse than live.
Okay,
It's worse than live.
Yeah.
But the expectation would be there's no shot it's going to be worse.
Yep.
Because,
And you already mentioned there is a way to interact with it, which is much better.
Yes. There's a workaround that is significantly easier, so just use that.
Yeah. My extra one, which is kind of like an additional thing to what Warbot was asking, you talked about how when you like did zoom in or whatever, when you had party markers, that they were sort of on the sides.
They were like here.
So when did you like try to search people? Was there like issues with like clashing of party markers and searching and stuff? Or
so you can't search their names up here. That's not an option. So it's just dots, and they're all the same. They look all the same. There is a hilarious bug that I hope stays, and I hope everyone gets to see it, because if you watch on Twitch, there's going to be party emotes, dancing emotes. It's so funny. So again, let's say you have 7 party members. There will be 4 on this side scattered here, and there'll be 3 on this side scattered here probably. And every single time you wave your mouse over them, have you ever been to like Epcot in Disney where there's like lights that shine at you and they go in a circle and it's like a dark room? It's that, but every party marker has a different color when you wave your mouse over it, and it just becomes this ridiculous lightning storm of lights, and it just looks ridiculous. It's insane. It's like the craziest, stupidest bug.
Definitely intentional.
So I think, but the reason I bring that up is all the party markers now are these like black, like circles with like a black interior and like a little carrot on the inside. I think the intention would be that each player's party marker on the map might be a different color.
Right.
So you are like, oh, Croncy is blue. And I can find Croncy's marker easily then via that color coding system, but I don't know
Right.
because it was just
Okay.
a weird bug. But they each had a
Yeah.
different color, so maybe that was the idea behind that.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you still fast travel to your friends though?
Yes. Yes,
No,
and
not
this
fast travel. Sorry, quantum.
yes, and this is what made it easier because, for example, if you were on Daymar on this map, I don't have to double click Daymar, find the location that you're at, and click on you. I just need to find your icon on the right or left side, click you, and press R.
Oh, that is so much better.
Yeah. So it's like just a more enjoyable experience. And apparently, I don't know anything about these. Somebody in my comments mentioned, I forgot what they said. These buttons down below speed that process up even more.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yes. And somebody is asking in Twitch chat, I've mentioned it a few times, but I'll reiterate it. You cannot search for your friends in the search bar.
Okay.
Which that is a little annoying, but that's also only going to be an issue if like you've got a massive party and you're trying to go to one specific person.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just there is a database of locations that you can quantum
Yeah.
to. That's what this map is reading, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's just one of those pain points that a lot of the friends I've been bringing over to Star Citizen.
Of course, yeah.
It's just like, I cannot get to you. I cannot navigate this. I
Yeah.
quit.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
So,
and yeah, like one of the
Yeah.
guys that I've been playing with who's done more of that testing than I have, you can see your party members in the minimap as well.
Yeah.
gotcha.
If you have a minimap available, you can see them and you can navigate to them, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, that was like a big thing because UI in this game feels very dated and
Mhm.
some of their color choices, white on white, the
Yeah.
neon blue here and there.
Yeah.
It was cool at first, but then you realize may not be the best. May not be the best selection.
Just give
for
us a
this.
good old dark drop shadow. That's all we need. That's
Yeah.
all we need. That
Yeah.
solves
It's
so
not
many of
hard.
these problems. You can keep like your holographic aesthetic. You can keep your blues, all that stuff. Just make it so I could read it.
Like for fuck's sake, man, the mining UI has been impossible to read for how long too? Like,
And it used to be worse.
yeah, it's better and
Yeah.
it's still shit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Uh.
it's just they don't get it, and it's so annoying. Nobody says they like it. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. We're not just complaining to complain about this. Nobody likes it, dude. Like, just why are you still doing this? I don't get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will say that the visually the map looks better, and you don't have
Mhm.
that where they zoom in and you see how like the lines are crossing on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't have that. It's the moon
All right. So,
is above it. And again, you
yeah.
can
Cool.
see these markers, very light colored, right?
Mhm.
Those are the same ones that are there. But they were so hard to see in comparison to these. These are easier to see than anything I've seen. But again, look at Nakamura Valley Aid Shelter.
Mm.
Can't even read it here.
Yeah.
So
I
you
can
would have
barely
hoped
see
that
it.
this
Holy
would have
crap.
been, yeah, you would have hoped this would have been better by now. But I think their priority was probably functionality, like the search bar,
Yeah.
over visuals for now, and they can get the visuals right probably a lot
Yep.
easier than delivering that functionality. And I will say, I way prefer them delivering on this if it was a choice of making this more readable or delivering the search bar.
I was gonna
So.
say for a game that prioritizes art over functionality for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Finally,
Yeah.
they're prioritizing functionality over art, and I'll take it. I will never complain about
Yep.
that shit. Let me tell you.
hmm
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And oh my god, I actually lost my second question, but I'll skip it to the third one for Croncy actually.
Mhm.
Gravlev Racing, actually, SaltEMike too. Like, so something that I've always wanted to try out is Gravlev Racing. Probably is really soon. Have you um have you experienced any issues or foresee any issues with the current master modes? Because I do
Sort
know
of.
that. Hmm?
Sort of. So I
This is a
had
Croncy question.
yeah, I had thought like, yeah, are they going to completely change how the hover bikes work because of master modes? Because they use the flight model for at least for
Yeah, because they're spaceships in as far as
yeah,
the game
they
is
are spaceships.
concerned.
Yeah.
hmm
What I have been told by Herbie, one of the best pilots in the game for ground vehicle stuff.
Herbie is the
who
reason I'm
went
on
into-
the leaderboard. He's the man.
Yep. Herbie went into Evocati today, and apparently they had master modes. So I don't know how they're going to perform. I
Yikes.
imagine it'll be very different. Otherwise, like it is possible they don't change much because when you actually think about it, at least in atmosphere, Gravlevs kind of already work like master modes, right?
They have a top speed that's low.
They have a top speed. The only thing that's different is like the extra boost, right? Like you going to a top speed and then getting an additional top speed when you boost.
Mhm.
That's the only thing that's really different. They kind of feel the same otherwise. So I think there could be a problem, but they've been doing so much balancing and so much changing of Gravlevs over the course of the last few months that I would imagine they don't want that to change too drastically. But how it works with the new system, I don't know. So I think 100% there could be problems. What I do want to say is you have 9 minutes left to do grav races for the next like few weeks because it goes away in 9 minutes.
I know, it's so
Oh.
sad. All right,
Gotcha.
Croncy, you take care of the
It'll be a
show.
permanent fixture though. It'll be a permanent fixture.
Croncy, you're taking over the show because I'm doing a few laps on Cleo Islands right now.
Yeah, because as soon as I saw gravel like F0, really?
Yeah, yep.
Like I just imagined at first like, all right, I'm gonna get a Captain Falcon helmet and let's go.
Wait,
Yeah.
no, wait, hold on. I just hit my PB time in practice,
Oh no.
so I'm not going to be
Uh-oh.
able to do a better leaderboard score. Oh no, I'm so
Right,
sad.
let me really quickly check when it comes back because I am a little bit disappointed that it went away that quickly this
Can you
time.
tell
'cause we
us
had 2 weeks with it the first
Can you
time.
tell us what's coming today as well?
Yes.
Because DJ again was
except
hinting at
yeah.
something.
So today is single weapon elimination, kill collector FPS, and kill collector vehicle. It does not say what the single weapon is. So I imagine the reason that Tucker's getting
Okay.
really excited is there's probably some really funny weapon in there.
He likes the single weapon elimination stuff.
Yeah.
And the when is this? Where is it? Here.
Yeah.
So they don't say, and
They don't say with the vehicle, but I would imagine that it's ship, just because the way that you get the 999th test squadron is through kill collector vehicles.
okay, and I still have to do that actually.
Yeah.
I didn't get the reward for that. I have a funny feeling that the reward's going to be like an egg for Easter or something like
Probably.
that.
Oh yeah, it is Easter.
Yeah, so they might do like something like that since it's coming out today. Since all these have been themed by some reward, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gravlev's not coming back until April 14th. And once again, it'll be in for a week. At least it's scheduled to only be in for a week, and then, and so on. The big thing, though, is you will get, and I am I'm hoping Warbotniks, I'm going to see you on the leaderboards. The private lobbies are supposed to be coming with 323. In addition, it is almost certain that Gravlev Racing will become a permanent mode because it's been incredibly popular. So I envision a lot of that stuff, happening a lot more in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I remember my previous question. In the last Evo, not Evo, but ISC with the freight elevators, we saw a hint of some of the new mobiGlas functions. One of the functions at the bottom, when he was calling in to his, it was at the part where he was calling in to ATC to let the land his, looks like a C2. There was a section called landing, like a button called landing. What was that for, or do we not know yet?
That's not an Evo. I'm looking for it. Was it on the most recent ISC?
It was during
Like
to and fro from cargo, whatever it's
Okay.
called. Yeah.
Give me a moment. I'll try and find it.
Yeah, because me and my friends, we were speculating, like, wait, what is that? Is that a new landing UI? Is it a landing search?
I'll tell you that.
According to Tumblrino, it's apparently it's like the repair, rearm, refuel app.
Oh. Huh.
They've renamed the apps, at least in Evocati, to make sense to new players. So like the
Yeah, I noticed Delphi was non-existent.
Delphi is not
when they've shown stuff.
non-existent. It's just called rep now.
Yeah, which
So
that was such a good name. I'm so
that's
disappointed.
that's fine. If you click it, I don't know. It might say Delphi as the app when you go into it, but at least on the bottom where you're like, what do I want? A new player will go, my reputation is here, right? So it makes way more sense.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, I am still looking for this, but I believe Tumblerino, he's in Evo with us and everything. I don't recall it being saying landing currently, but he must be on it. So yeah, I can't find it in the to and fro from cargo, but yeah, that's basically how to answer the question. Is they've gone away from all the in-lore shit because they realized it was confusing to new players. So yeah, he's on it right now and said that's what it is, which is
Delphi was such a good name though, Mike.
It is a good name, and it's still Delphi or Delphi or whatever. It's just
no. Apparently, it's not. That's well. Once again, if Tumblerino is to be believed, it's been completely removed as Delphi. It's the Oracle of Delphi. She's gonna tell you all about your rep, but no, it's just rep.
Knickknacks on.
Yep.
I forgot what it's called. Something else like stuff. It literally has a name like stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like, it's really, really simple.
Yeah.
So just need to add crafting somewhere in there so I can watch my crafting, projects.
Yeah.
And then I'll be happy. And this will be my last question because I know because I actually do want to hear what Tumblerina has to say because I'm kind of interested. The last thing is that and this is a good tangent for since new players are now starting to pour in. Me and my crew come from Warships, where it's another place that sells ships for real money. Great, it's awesome. I hate it.
You mean the way that people have been making money in the last 10 years is predatory and no one likes it? No way.
Well, actually, buying the ships buying the ships outright isn't as bad. At least you know what you're going to get. But a lot of their ships now are tied behind loot boxes and randomized containers, and I'm going like, nope. So, but the interesting thing is that a lot of the content creators are starting to take a jump into Star Citizen, like Jingle, like some. So I don't want to name them here, but some of their interesting content creators are starting to look at it and actually put one in the React, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of outdated information he's putting out. Do you think 3.23 is a good time to start, sort of half recommending players to okay, come and give it a try? It is a good time to play because I came back to the game right as 3.18 dropped.
Yeah. And that's exactly where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
No, because after 3.23 is server meshing shit, and we have no idea what's going to happen with that. So I say no for that reason alone, so you don't get the... How are you on this podcast still here and didn't quit this game and say, never again, if that was your first experience with it? You know what I mean?
It's just how good this game is, Mike.
It's true.
Well,
it's so good.
That's the interesting thing. I think I was blessed. I experienced very few issues at 3.18 because the only thing in my hangar, and I think I may have been on the receiving... was one ship because I only remember buying a Mustang. And somehow I received somebody's Corsair and another person's Corsair. And I was like, I don't remember buying this. I decided to run back to 2016. I was like, did I buy this? So it's like, nope.
I think similar things as Mike, but I do think that 3.23 will be a good time to start. As long as it's a good launch, first off.
Checking it out,
as long as
for
it is
sure.
a solid first. That's the thing. One of the biggest advantages you have with Starset.
Following it.
Yeah, following it. And if you get that initial hype from a massive patch release, that'll keep you in the game for a very long time, and it'll keep you through bad releases.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good time to start, as long as the patch itself releases well. But then, if you do recommend it to people, do genuinely say, look, 3.23, it's probably going to be good, but be prepared for, some upcoming rough times, most likely.
I'm launching Star Citizen right now because it's noon. This is when
You need to find out what the single weapon is.
yeah, I want to just see what DJ was so excited about. So
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know when I find out.
All ATSCavs.
By the way, the your stuff is called assets. So now you get what I'm saying.
Assets. Okay.
Like it makes it was the nice way of like the good way of saying your stuff's over here.
Things.
Yeah, things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else, or are we going to Tumblr now for the evil competition thing that was pretty cool?
No, just I just want to thank you guys for having me on. It's great for you guys to talk about this because I do like this back and forth because sometimes if you're just talking to yourself, usually like no feedback, no bouncing ideas, you don't get that.
As long as you don't answer yourself, it's okay.
Oh, I do that all the time, unfortunately.
Luckily, you can't answer your own call. Wait, it's not the end of the pod yet. Shit.
Dude, it's not turned on yet.
What?
Wow, Duncan lying to everyone.
I don't see it yet in the PU.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I mean that's about it. Other than that, I'm cautiously optimistic now that I've experienced 3.18 up till now. But overall, though, I think it was good for me to start in 3.18 because so far every patch after that has been a better, not so better than better experience.
Yes.
So
but if you start at the bottom of the barrel, like
every patch patch in history was better.
Yeah, so I think that was good for me, but I think it definitely scared a few friends away. They're like, "Hey, this game is pretty cool," and then when they got in, they're like, "This game is nope, we're leaving."
No,
not only that, we've talked about it before. So many people were coming back in 3.18 because of the hype around it, and it just fell so flat.
It took all the air out of them, man.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a test preview channel now. Is they never want that to happen again.
Yep.
Good, yeah. But I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad the foundations are being set now, and I do hope dynamic server meshing comes, in a good state. And then, everything else so far that they're doing is great building blocks to go on that foundation. So, I am now seeing tangible progress, and it's good. I'm honestly pretty happy about it. But that's about it. And thank you for your time. And I do hope to jump on, if I can wake up early enough.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, good. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, man.
All right. Bye, guys.
Let's go to Tumblr now. So I'm so.
Duncan says it's live.
Yeah, and I think I just made a Windows sound on everybody's computer. I'm sorry because I was verifying my files to see if that was my problem. So Tumblr.
How you doing?
Good afternoon.
Good
Croncy.
Afternoon.
Salty.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Talk to us. I am so curious because again, we talk about all the events that happen in game that are non-PvP related. This is not just PvP related, but piracy related. Like, just tell me all about this. I am gonna watch it myself, but I'm really curious about the event and what it's all about.
Understood. So to begin with, this isn't an event that wasn't organized by RAM or it was a conjoint event from all the PvP orgs. Deadfrag is in the chat. He was one of the responsibles for organizing the event itself. So the event, give me a second here. It's called Major League Piracy. And it was pretty much exactly. It's funny, but the rules sought for it, it's very akin to how things go in the PU. If Deathfrag's in chat, I see he is. You just help me along the introduction with the event here. Should you see any inconsistencies of what I'm saying, please, so I don't pass along incorrect information. But in all respect to the event, it was a 5v5 tournament. So it was made in AC. Every single org occupied all the slots to lock down that lobby. Since we don't have private lobbies yet, 3.23 incoming.
On free fly or
no, for all AC, from what I understand. But it's still too early to see. still, but it's going to be custom lobbies for us to actually enjoy our favorite game modes
No,
and
I mean
practice to our.
the one. Sorry, the one that happened on the weekend. Were you doing that in free fly?
It was done in free flight, yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
So given that the Star Marine loadouts go to free flight as well, once you keep your characters, they had strict rules for everything. They had rules for equipment. They had to use the same kind of equipment, different colors, and it was a 5v5. So the attacking team would start in a blue or a Cuddy black in this case, and the opposing team would either defend in an A90, a Starfarer, a Hammerhead, or a Carrack. Now, the was done by rounds, so one attacks, red versus blue, exactly. One attacks, and the other one defends, and they would invert the roles each round until a winner was declared. But given the similarity how it works in the PU, but with less instability, it was an amazing event. We could see the PvP orgs really come together to organize not only the event, but the way it was done. It was spectacularly well done. Ever since the presentation, the production, the organization, the rules, everything was super well done. And it was fun. It was actually fun to see how the PvP FPS players would behave in a boarding event kind of situation, how would they would breach, what tactics they would recourse to once they're inside the ship, what weapons they would deploy. And we saw a variety of techniques, and even players we weren't even expecting to excel to be amazing at the boarding. It was pretty.
Sorry to interrupt you, Tumblrino. Mike, are you playing single weapon elimination right now?
Yes.
Is Bunton trolling us with that?
It is an April Fool's joke. It is a rocket launcher pistol, like a toy gun pistol.
Oh my God, that's amazing!
And it has 100 rounds and 600 in like magazine
reserves,
reserves.
You gotta lead those shots, Mike. That's amazing.
Mike wouldn't have done too well at this.
This is actually pretty fun. I'm actually gonna play that.
Yeah, I'm gonna play the hell out of this. This is kind of funny, man. So sorry to derail a little bit, but I had to.
Quite alright, but it actually looks pretty entertaining.
So, out of my own curiosity, Tumblrino, do you know how many people participated?
Yes, sir, I do. So, organization-wise, the following orgs were part of the event. So it was PAX, PO, EMP, Vanguard, WHO, LR, RAM, and EA. So these are all piracy orgs or PvP orgs that came together for the event, and you could see their proficiency. You could tell right away it wasn't their first time boarding a ship.
Yeah.
And the good part they're having to deal with the scuffed EVA we have currently, for example, to know how to use. Believe it or not, they actually used grenades efficiently, and it worked.
Hey, can can you post whatever YouTube VOD or anything? Like somebody posted I think Heimdelight posted like a Twitch stream and a time that it was going to start at for me, which you know, like a VOD is something that people would love to see. So let me know, and we'll include it in the description and everything as well. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. I was scouring for links, but I think that Frag will be able to provide them way better.
Yeah.
But the event,
I was a link to me, so please DM it to me.
I was watching the event like it was a real esport, just on the edge of my seats, just cheering on for everyone. It was fun to see that people can actually use the free flight event other than blowing up little starships, little flight fighters, and come together to actually do something that is used in the PU in a competitive manner.
Yeah.
In a very organized environment.
Yeah. I think that kind of event is probably going to be one of the more popular, like
never seen that before, so but we're back up to normal, so I don't know.
It's because you were playing Starset. That's the problem.
Yeah, it was the rocket hit my internet, I guess. I literally had closed it. When I closed it, I think is when it happened, but I don't know.
Looks like YouTube's still having issues, unfortunately. Oh, maybe it's back. Maybe we're back. We're back on YouTube as well. All right, cool.
Server recovery is working on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching on the YouTube VOD, I don't know how YouTube handles an internet disconnection, but my OBS, like the Twitch OBS servers that I would normally use, it's got to be my internet, because if it was a Twitch server, the OBS on YouTube would have stayed up. So yeah.
Or it could be a hardware thing too.
Yeah, just had a weird hiccup.
But anyway.
So apologize.
Anyway.
Where were we?
So we're talking about the event itself still. So one of the main things they've inspired the event on was competitive games such as Valorant, CS:GO, Rainbow Six Siege as well, and that's where they took the inspiration for the rule set and how to organize the event. It went super smoothly, and even the orgs that were already eliminated from the match were always there with members to fill up the entire lobby, so no randoms would get in and ruin the event.
That's cool.
It was super well organized.
Love that.
And I hope to see more events of this in the future, for sure. And see how the dynamic changes, because now we have the FPS changes incoming, for sure. And I don't want to go to the route of spoiling things, as Mike advertises, and I think it's a very good mentality. But I'll leave this with you. The shotguns sound amazing and behave amazing. And it's actually worthwhile using. I want to see people actually using shotguns during breaching and see how they behave in such close quarters environment, for example. It might change the dynamic quite significantly in the PU.
Okay.
Sweet.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very much so. I love that. And that frag, I know you're hearing. So again, thank you for the event. Thank you for streaming it, and it was super well organized.
Yeah,
I can't say this enough.
It's on his Twitch stream. For whoever said his link is sketchy, it's a Twitch link. It's not sketchy.
All Twitch links are sketchy.
Yeah, I guess.
And again, this is something that even other people that are in the PU can benefit from by watching the tournaments and the VODs, because it shows you ways how to defend your ship properly that attackers might not have a slightest idea how to deal with. It actually is good that you might encounter a situation like this in the PU, and if you have a few numbers in your team, you might actually successfully defend. And again, while the attackers always have the advantage, these tactics might bring the playing field a little bit more leveled.
Yeah. That's
the
awesome.
only thing I'll say about that, when you do start to get like more heavily organized events like that, you can't really learn from it as like a regular player of the game, because it becomes about the meta of this very this very policed event, right? Of, you know, only being allowed to use this many XYZs, having like player parity. Player parity is never going to happen in Star Citizen, like live. That's just not going to be a thing, right? You can still learn some things, like some very basic strategies and whatnot, but it will become more about the meta of the event itself, which is also fine, because that's where it becomes really interesting, when you've actually got to, like when you start following teams and they do have to adapt to different play styles.
I would disagree in that assessment, Croncy, in the single fact that, for example, if in this we all look at the GL, well, the GP33, the grenade launcher, as the end-all be-all of close quarter weaponry, right? If that is taken out of the equation, because I do hope it gets a fuse or something to nerf the hell out of it, please. If that is put aside, then all the other weaponry is valid. And I remind you that this event will add little to no restrictions in kind of weaponry. You could use pretty much everything. So in that regard, it came very close to the real PU situation. And the main takeaways here are not just strats of where to hide, of where to defend, of what chokeholds you would hold, but also communication and how to properly communicate to avoid the situations of flooding comms with unnecessary communication. This is something a lot of people actually suffer in the PU, and it's very detrimental to any organization.
Do you know what it could do as well? Just from another positive is, any metas or any like overwhelmingly ridiculous tactics that are used could be, you know, from the developer side, be like, yeah, we don't want that, and deal with it before the game ever comes out as well. So like
exactly,
which happens all the
rules
time,
of course, and leaving the rules as limited as possible to allow for that to happen is a good thing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
again, this is something that already been said multiple times. Pirates don't play fair, but they want a fair game. They want a balanced game.
Yeah.
And if one person alone can just breach a hammerhead with a grenade launcher and pretty much kill an entire crew of 7-8 people, that's not balanced. I'm sorry, but that's not how we want the game. And if any of the devs can actually take any lessons from those events and from the information those kind of players gather and provide feedback to, please act on it. A balance. We want diversity. We want to use a shotgun in the shotgun situations or a sniper in sniper situations. We don't want to pick up a single weapon for every single thing. It gets boring. Same with the light fighters.
I think from the
diversity.
FPS side that they're definitely communicating that outwards towards us. It's just a matter of whatever changes they made. We'll see if they work or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that's pretty much it. And now we'll see how our future events go with custom lobbies. We actually might start seeing these events even more frequently, and even with the EVA, which is a godsend. I cannot stress this enough. A godsend.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we didn't really talk about it.
Yeah. I talked about it a little bit in the first video that I made, so it's been so long. EVA has been pretty good from the jump, I would say. One of the more polished features. So it basically what you saw in the video is what we got.
Lovely.
Exactly.
Which doesn't happen very often. So yeah.
I did a few experiments in the PU, not in PU, on the AC module offline yesterday, pushing it to the limits, like landing very close to the ground, see if you go flat on your face, landing sideways, even heads down, and even going backwards into EVA. None of those failed.
Nice.
Zero. You would not land on your head, flat on the face, nothing. You would be ready to immediately engage. Not even that. If you go backwards into EVA while securing the extraction place where you're exfilling from, you would keep pointing at it and you keep shooting at the same location without any kind of lag, desync, or positional shift. Meaning you can just keep aiming at a corridor, for example, defending while you extract in EVA, looking backwards.
That's sick.
That's very cool. That's also super cinematic.
Yeah.
Very.
So it hits everything that Star Citizen wants. It works. And we can make videos with it.
Exactly.
And we can make people buy more ships.
The only problem I have with it slightly is the forward decoupled. So when you push forward, it goes decoupled for a little bit, and it takes some getting used to, because you have to press the backwards key to come to a full stop. But if you don't realize that you're going forward in decoupled, well, it's going to be problematic. Other than that, I think it's pretty much what they promised to deliver and much more. I love it.
Awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited for some things. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That and the physical and the physical changes to the freight elevators are gonna. I'm just gonna say this. If they do well, we're gonna get reset in 323. You have to change to bring your things to another station or something. Guess who now can start killing people and taking their stuff? So now that with the freight elevators, we might actually start looting weapons and components off of other ships. I don't know if that's going to be a thing or not. I surely hope so. I still have some doubts of how they're going to work.
What makes this change for you? What about that makes that change? Because I still don't see the point in doing it.
So we know, for example, that you'll be able to call components and ship weapons via freight elevator, right, inside the boxes. So this means you'll be able to offload them as well, I would assume.
Understood. Yeah, there's 32 SCU containers that you can open now, is what they made it look like in the ISC video.
So you got easy storage for all your loot.
One thing I can't tell you, and maybe you saw this, Tumblr, are they purchasable in the game yet? Do we know?
Sorry, are they what? I misread that.
A 32 SCU container. Can you purchase them in Evo? Because I didn't check. It's something I will
not
check.
The 32. I think I've seen the 8, and I think it's the 16 SCU is also there. I did not see the 32 one.
Okay.
But I might go check. But I think some weapons, some big weapons and components already fit the 16 SCU size. I haven't checked this out very thoroughly. I would like to.
Yeah.
But I would speculate that would be one of the changes that freight elevators might come up with. The only doubt that I have is given that if the ship components and ship weapons are inside the boxes, how we transfer them from one box to another? We can't drag them to the floor. They don't allow that. So how would we transfer items from one box to another that we can't drop on the floor, for example?
You may be able to drop them on the floor because we still have the old inventory system exists. So I would imagine you would still be able to access and literally drag and drop still,
If
right?
the old
That would be the
rules still
case,
exist,
Croncy.
you can't.
Here's the thing, Mike and Croncy. I've checked the A2 and the C2. They significantly reduced the internal inventory to the point where you can fit a single size 5 weaponry.
Sure.
Mm.
So you have to.
And that's
physical.
They might change this.
I'm talking
but-
about the ability to just drop them.
Yeah, they might have that, but currently it says that you can't because it's not a weapon. Well, it's not a system that you can
Then they
interact
haven't
with. Like
changed it. Okay, cool. Yeah. So then
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any way you can do it. That would suck. Because you
Exactly.
can only have one
That's what's
container open at a
concerning me.
time. In the current system, from the external ones, you can open multiple containers inside of a container. So if there was like a 32 SU container that had two 16s in it, you could swap them.
Mhm.
That's the only way.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But it still leaves a lot of questions. The
course.
Matryoshka doll system might cause a lot of problems with the system, with the server itself. We've seen this already with the backpack. Within the backpack, that was crashing the servers quite a long time ago, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I don't know. Although I don't know how they're gonna move forward. But I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the place where the game actually allows us to handle components, repair, retrofit, everything done by hand if necessary. I would love that. And lose them as well because we're in need of dire more money sinks than we have currently.
Agreed. But I guess this is where we'll leave it. I don't really know
we're about we're
where
2.5
else to go,
hours in
and we're at
as
2.5 hours. So yeah, I want to. But there's a few more callers in the list. I know Hellhawk is there and Stone Lover. I put you in the queue, but there's no way we're gonna be able to get to you guys today because
I do apologize. That was partly my fault.
no, it was mine and Mike's fault.
No, it was not. It was 100% ours. Yeah, so it's all good, Tumblr. You were straight to the point on everything you talked about, so we're good. I'll let you go though, Tumblr. Thank you for your insight, and I'll hit you up. Maybe we'll try messing around with these weapons, see if we can figure something out before the test ends.
Absolutely, would love to. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to get on today, but maybe in a future patch.
Yeah,
absolutely. Looking forward for it.
Later, bro.
Awesome. Cheers.
Bye. All right, so that was Tumblr. That was our callers for the day. I can't wait to watch that VOD. That sounds so cool, actually. It's just cool to see something different as well, because a lot of the events have been the same for a while. Like Atmo's been doing new stuff, but the same stuff for a while too. It's just cool to see something entirely different than what's been done.
It is, and just like the fact that this weekend had so many different events from so many different people. And that was still done before private lobbies.
Yeah.
Like the fact that this is already happening means we're going to be so
it's only
prepared
gonna get
for private
easier.
lobbies. Yeah. So
yeah.
I don't know. I got really excited this weekend with all of the events, especially with almost all of them running really well too. It's like one of the first times where the game hasn't said, "Oh, you're running an event. We're going to 30k you every 2 minutes. Then get wrecked." So yeah.
Yeah. But I guess that's where it leaves us. Can Star Citizen live up to the hype? Is 323 going to be amazing? We don't know yet.
I know it's going to be great.
The only thing it's going to be is delayed, and the only thing that I'm nervous about is if it's delayed too much, they're going to force this thing out because of a ship sale. The thing that I fear the most
for Invictus
of why they were pushing so hard is they either worked on a Friday that they should have been off for two reasons. Because they care so much that they want things to be good as possible, as fast as possible, because they know this shit's going to get pushed out by a ship sale, or because it's not ready and they need feedback. And both are bad.
It could be both.
And both are.
It could be both as well.
Yeah, it could be both at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's one of those where you knew what was going to be in this patch, or you had these. The most concerning thing is these were features that have been tried and true and tested in a single player game. I know it's not made for the multiplayer game, but there's a lot of things that are understood about them before. It's not like a feature that's flying by the seat of its pants getting into Star Citizen.
Yeah.
My concern is the lack of polish and the lack of pace getting these in for the rest of the year. So we'll see what happens. Like, it's one of those things where everything about the people coming over from Squadron and the pace of Star Citizen speeding up, this is showing bad signs for that, is all I'm saying for now, because these are the things that should have been easy to get in. What's going to happen later? They still have to actually make that stuff. They haven't even started making it yet, maybe, right? So, like, what's going to happen to base building? What's going to happen to crafting? Things like that, right? So those are where I'm like a little iffy now, because these are coming in pretty unpolished and pretty messy, but they're also coming in hot. Builds are unstable. That's the way things go. So we'll have to see.
Welcome to Evocati.
Exactly. You'll find out soon enough, my young Padawan, when you get there, of how bad it can be at times. Sometimes you just go in and you literally just hop in the server to exist for whatever data they're trying to gather. You just you don't do anything because you can't, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way it is. And we had a little bit of that this week, and some cool things to check out. But I don't know. I'm excited. We'll see what happens, but I guess I have my phone. So don't forget to like, subscribe. You could become a member if you want to go the extra mile. If you want to join the show at any time, discord.gg/SaltEMike on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know the UTC. It's 5 hours, I think, from now, because I think they just changed over today. So also, don't forget
to answer the call.
Hey, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully the YouTube video isn't too screwed up from the internet. We'll see.